Hello, good morning and welcome to Stormont in sunny Belfast, Northern Ireland. It's the moment we've all been waiting for all the way around the country. It is the return of international cricket to the island of Ireland. It's the Celtic International T20 Challenge Series between Ireland women and Scotland women. We're about 10 minutes away from play, and just a little while earlier we had Isabel Joyce, the former Ireland women's captain, out in the middle with the two captains. She was conducting the toss. Let's go and find out what happened.
Good morning and welcome to Stormont in Northern Ireland for match 1 of the Celtic International T20 Challenge. With me I have the captains of Ireland, Laura Delaney, captain of Scotland, Catherine Bryce, and match referee Phil Thompson will toss the coin.
Okay, Catherine, you come here. Heads the call. And heads it is.
Catherine, come and join me please. First of all, first game in 20 months for Scotland. The team must be really excited.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely buzzing to kind of get back out here and get some international cricket. It's been a long couple of winters, but yeah, just to get out here and play some matches is brilliant.
It's been a long time, so how's the squad shaping up?
Yeah, shaping up pretty well. I think it's always been difficult for the last few months to get some cricket in and competitive cricket. So had a few weekends in the county championship, which has kind of started to get the girls ready to play back next week.
So you won the toss, you've elected to bat, and what's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, thinking just kind of get out on a fresh pitch, and it's a pretty nice day. I'm sure kind of what the weather's going to do later, so just hit the ground running and yeah, get us started in the position.
Okay, well best of luck for the match and the series. Thanks very much. And Laura, if I can have you join me. Welcome. And first of all, like I said to Catherine, 20 months since your last international match. What's the mood in the camp?
We've literally just been counting down the days until today, so there's great excitement around the group. We have a couple of girls making their debut, but yeah, overall we just can't wait to get back out there.
So there's been lots of talk in the media about how young the team is, and you mentioned some debutants. Could you give us a bit more about that?
Ava Canning and Amy Hunter are both making their debut today, so hopefully we can get around them and make it a memorable day for both of them.
Very exciting. And you've lost the toss, you've been put in the field. Would you have done anything different?
I probably would have had a bat first if I'd won the toss. It looks like a lovely pitch, but happy to field first and get everyone out in the pitch and have the ball in hand, so hopefully all goes well.
Very well, best of luck for the match in the series.
Thanks a lot.
And that's the news from the middle. Scotland have won the toss and they'll have a bat.
So that was the news from the toss. Scotland women winning the toss and choosing to bat first. No real surprise. We are set fair for a beautiful morning and early afternoon of cricket. 11 a.m. start local time, which will be in just over 5 minutes, just while we were away taking in the toss and the Irish squad profiles. We also had the anthems conducted. Flower of Scotland ringing out across the ground, followed up by Ireland's call, and quite emotional scenes really. You can see how much it means for everyone to be back on the pitch, and how fitting it is that we are back on the pitch with women's international cricket. The first time for this Irish side since September 7th, 2019. We've had no international cricket on the island of Ireland outside of that Ireland Wolves Netherlands A matches. We've had no senior international cricket for 612 days, so it's been a long wait. It's been an extraordinary year and a half for the world, but we are so glad to be back. Andrew Leonard here in the commentary box. We have sunshine coming across the ground. We also have a return to spectators at the ground. It's a wonderful day. It's an emotional day, and we're going to be set fair for a great game of cricket. I've got Andrew Blair-White with me to my right. Andrew, hard to not be a little emotional this morning.
Yes, exactly, and I think you could see that from both sets of teams at the anthems. There's 3 lucky women out there that are making their international debuts as well. One for Scotland, Asa Lister, and Amy Hunter and Ava Canning for Ireland, and these are days that you don't forget, and it's brilliant that the sun's out, as you say, spectators back in the ground, and I suppose a sense of normality as well coming back into the world, which we've missed for so long.
Yeah, let's talk about Amy Hunter, because 15 years of age, the local girl going to make her international debut today. What a moment it's going to be for her. It'll be interesting to see. We'll probably see her with the wicket-keeping gloves as well. In good form in the Super 2 series to get going. 15-player squad for Ireland. Selected 14 for Scotland coming across. And good to see common sense used again, Andrew, yesterday. Washed out yesterday. A little bit like that inaugural test match for Ireland down in Malahide. We had to wait a day. But here we go. Out go the players. For Scotland, opening up the batting, it's going to be Sarah Bryce, one of the 2 Bryce sisters in the squad, with Becky Glenn. Sarah Bryce, the wicketkeeper batsman, and her sister Catherine Bryce, really the 2 stars of the show for this Scotland Wildcats team.
Exactly, as you can see there on your graphic, the Scotland women's squad. Sarah Bryce, who I'm sure we'll see potentially with the keeping gloves later on today, and Becky Glenn, one of the more experienced campaigners on this Scottish side. It's interesting, I think we see that Shauna Kavanagh has the gloves for Ireland instead of Amy Hunter.
Yeah, Amy Hunter down here in front of us at 3rd man fielding position. That's the playing 11 for Ireland. Gabby Lewis, Rebecca Stokell, Laura Delaney, Shauna Kavanagh, Orla Prendergast, Laura Moritz, Amy Hunter, one of 2 debutantes, Leah Paul, Celeste Rack, Cara Murray and Ava Canning. And it's the moment everyone's been waiting for. Orla Prendergast is going to take the new ball from the city end. Sunshine streaming across the ground. What a difference 24 hours makes. It's been worth the wait. It's been a long wait for everyone. We're going to finally have international cricket over the next 4 days. This Celtic International T20 series, 4 matches, 4 consecutive days. The first one here is just about to get going. 11 a.m. local time. It's been a long and agonising wait for the return of cricket. But here we go. Orla Prendergast to get us going. Let's play. A little bit of early movement, just wide outside the off stump, coming back into Kavanagh. Kavanagh, one of the 2 keepers used so far in the Super 2 series, so 2 options with the gloves. We may see Hunter with the gloves later in the series, perhaps.
Yes, I'd say so. A little bit like we saw Stephen Downey and Neil Rock in the Ireland Wolves mix up the gloves. I would be very shocked to see Amy Hunter not with the gloves in hand at some stage this series, but Shauna Kavanagh has been keeping plenty as well.
Driven into the offside, but can't get past the point fielder.
Yeah, Orla Prendergast has been in such excellent form so far in the Super 2 series for the Typhoons. She scored 100 a couple of weeks ago at Rush Cricket Club, but she also is an excellent bowler, very rhythmical in her action, very athletic player.
It's going to be the first runs, the first international runs for a year and a half. It's going to be the most perfect on drive you'll see. Just a clip down the ground, over pitch from Prendergast. Punished strongly down the ground. A really good straight bat shown by Sarah Bryce. We're going to get up and running and underway with a beautiful boundary 4.
Yeah, excellent shot from Sarah Bryce here. Prendergast perhaps just a shade over pitching and driven very nicely. You know you're in good nick when you're hitting it that straight. Straighter than mid-on. 4 runs all the way.
Beauty beaten outside the off stump again. Just a little shape and a little hint of early movement. It is an earlier start today. Both sides so keen to get a match in today. There might have been the smallest chance of a 5-over-a-side game yesterday, but the reserve day was in play on the Tuesday. So the umpires immediately agreeing with the two sides, saying let's delay this by 24 hours, let's bring the reserve day into place. It does mean we'll have 4 back-to-back matches, but again an earlier start time today, 11 a.m. We'll be on at 1 p.m. for the second and third matches. Again beaten outside the off stump. Really good stuff this from Prendergast. Prendergast touted by many as the star of the future, perhaps a replacement for Kim Garth. Kim Garth, of course, playing Ireland's last match 18 months ago, the third place game in the T20 World Cup qualifier, where Ireland just missed out for the main event down in Australia. But she's now down in Australia, Kim Garth. Wish her well, the Irish Women's Player of the Decade. Sure, she'll probably be tuning in there from Melbourne as well, watching on all her former teammates. Throw comes in, just going to be a single. So 5 runs from the first over. The score 5-0.
Yeah, good start from Orla Prendergast, right on the money, making a few full strokes of Sarah Bryce, one of Scotland women's better batters. Her average would prove as much, averaging around 39 with the bat in T20 international cricket, which is an outstanding record, and it's good to see from the Dundonald end of the ground one of the 2 debutantes for the Ireland woman, Ava Canning, coming into the attack. Ava, very good young bowler, comes from the Leinster Cricket Club, another one of the product of a great young women's section down there. She'll shape the ball back into the batters, medium pace, but usually very effective, especially with the keeper up to the stumps like Shauna Kavanagh is implementing here, even in the second over.
Yeah, going to be a baptism of fire on debut for Ava Canning. Bowling to Sarah Bryce, one of the 2 stars of this Scotland side, the 2 sisters. Keeper up to the stumps, hit into the offside. Good work by Gabby Lewis. Picks up after a little fumble. They'll get through for the single. Sarah Bryce not just playing for Scotland women, but also playing a lot of cricket down in England. And perhaps that additional cricket that she'll have got in over the course of the last 12 months will give her that advantage coming into this series.
Yes, potentially so, but an awful lot of these Irish women as well have been playing in this Super 2 series, which has been brilliant for the development of both young and experienced players over the last number of years. And be a very interesting contest this, I think. 2 very well matched sides, 2 very young sides as well.
Watchful start for Glenn. Yeah, both Bryce sisters playing for the Lightning in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy. Fair to say, really dominant. Her last innings in that, Sarah Bryce 136 not out. Catherine Bryce captaining that side. I believe we'll see both players playing in the 100 later in the summer as well. Hit to the offside and almost half a chance. Might not have quite got a hand on it. I think that's the captain, Laura Delaney, there at cover. Good work in the deep, cuts off the boundary 4. Don't think Delaney actually got a hand on it. It burst through her. She went full length to her left and she couldn't cling on.
Yeah, it was a very close one, this. Driven away by Glenn, and it just goes past outstretched dive of Laura Delaney. And excellent work from Rebecca Stokel as well on the boundary to prevent 4 there. They run through for 3.
Again, just a little aerial to lay a pole. It's quite close in there at mid-wicket, almost a catching mid-wicket. Early nerves from both sides, but the ground already abuzz, and you can feel the energy and the excitement around. And how fantastic is it to see spectators back? Just a handful in so far. Lots of fresh morning towards the end of May here in Northern Ireland. This one hit out into the leg side again aerially, but it won't carry all the way out to the debutante Amy Hunter. shows she is much more than a keeper with a good throw in. Yeah, fantastic to see fans back in.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, especially for the women's who've had such a drought of cricket over the last 18 months. I think this is quite clever captaincy as well from Laura Delaney. As I said earlier in the over, Ava Canning brings exaggerated movement into the right-hander, and she's got deep square leg and deep mid-wicket. With the pace she's bowling at, it would actually be pretty hard to pierce that kind of offside at third man area. So I think it's quite clever captaincy. It's been a good first over so far from Canning.
Bowler, that's going to be the first wicket, and it's a debut maiden international wicket for Ava Canning. She has cleaned up Glenn, deceived really in the flight with that exaggerated movement into the right-hander, as you said, Andrew. What a moment for the debutante. That's the first wicket, a historic moment, a year and a half on. Let's take a look at the replay. Beautiful bowling.
Yeah, excellent from Canning. As you can see there, she brings the ball in excellently there. Exaggerated movement into the right-hander, and Glenn probably playing a little bit out ahead of herself. Has been slightly deceived by it, and it was a good first over, as I was mentioning, from Ava Canning, but that's the cherry on top, and always a brilliant sight to see on your international debut to get that first international wicket, a monkey off the back.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. What a moment for Ava Canning. A big old-fashioned inducker. It's come in extravagantly, and Glenn almost ends up yorking herself, playing over the line of the ball, coming between bat and pad, and that beautiful sound that any bowler always wants to hear. The ping of ball into the stumps. Gonna have one Bryce sister join the other, with the captain Catherine Bryce in at number 3. Orla Prendergast is going to continue, and don't think it's possible to state just how key the two Bryce sisters are going to be to this entire series. There's Orla Prendergast, her favourite player, Jaspreet Bumrah, Pembroke club woman, international debut 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think this is a massive partnership here, even so early in the game. Both the Bryce sisters have scored the majority of Scotland's runs over the last number of years, and I think if the Irish women's team were to make a breakthrough now in the next couple of overs, when they're getting a little bit of movement with this new ball, it would be absolutely imperative for the overall shaping of this fixture.
Really good stuff from Orla Prendergast. Good pace, just dug out by Bryce.
Yeah, she develops good pace, Orla Prendergast. As I said earlier, she's very athletic. She was actually a very high standard football player as a youth as well. She's decided to pursue cricket, which is brilliant for Irish women's cricket, and certainly a player to be extremely excited about, with both ball in hand and with bat in hand.
And again, beating Bryce for pace, well picked up at backward point. Always time for the two sisters to get through for the single there. That's going to be Catherine off the mark.
Yeah, a little bit of hesitation there, but overall a well-run single, and the Scottish women's tent isn't too far away from us here in the commentary box, Lenny, and they're certainly cheering every run very well. Good to see them getting behind their side. We saw them yesterday doing a few drills even after the rain had abated, and seemed to be great team camaraderie within their setup.
You can't exaggerate just how frustrating it's been for both Ireland women and Scotland women twice this winter, trying to get out to La Manga to play some T20s, to play some ODIs as well. Just the COVID regulations and the spikes that we saw throughout the winter, not making it possible. One of those series getting cancelled as late as within 24 hours of the first team flying out. So huge frustration, but huge relief, and great to see that the weather's going to play ball. That's a powerful cover drive, just slightly over pitch, not full enough to get into the block hole, all the way along the ground. That's going to be 4 runs. Really good batting, good power on show from Sarah Bryce.
Yeah, excellent power and timing here from Bryce. Prendergast just a little bit full this time, potentially searching a little bit too much for that magic delivery, and it's been driven extremely well past Laura Delaney at extra cover, piercing that gap. It's a hard gap to hit sometimes, but well driven, and 4 runs. And great to see this outfield at Stormont looking absolutely superb. An awful lot of rain yesterday, and yet still extremely quick.
Almost a repeat dose and really good work. That extra cover from the skipper, Laura Delaney. That wasn't a catch, what you'd refer to sometimes as a crowd catch. Hit straight into the ground, a good diving stop across to the right, saves at least a couple of runs. 3 overs gone. The score is 16 for 1.
Yeah, being a good start from the Ireland women's side here. Bang on the money with their bowling from both Prendergast and Ava Canning. Very few bad balls to get away. It's interesting with a bowler like Canning that you have to try and go and generate the pace, and that's what we saw perhaps in her first over. A couple of balls being almost spooned up to extra cover and mid-wicket, and there's no surprise that Leah Paul is that tight in for that like slightly slower one. Players playing out in front of themselves and maybe spooning a catch up.
Yeah, it's almost a catching mid-wicket just off the... Shadowed by the bowler currently. You can see her there, Leah Paul, ready to walk in and try and scoop up a catch. Yeah, 4 fielders on the leg side, and the interesting thing, no one behind square on the leg side, maybe deep backward square leg just, but no fine leg in place. So Canning has to be absolutely rigid with her line outside the off stump and bringing it in. Perfect demonstration of that when she cleaned up Glenn in her first over, but these two opening bowlers complement each other well. Real difference in pace. You can see there the extravagant movement in. Really good start this to her international career from Ava Canning.
Yeah, certainly no nerves on show. She's been playing a lot of women's first team cricket for Leinster and has been involved in the Super 2s and Super 3 series as it was a couple of years ago as well from a very young age. Very good prospect for Irish women's cricket, and the way she controls her swing is also extremely good for a player of her age.
Amy Hunter just being asked to come maybe 5-7 yards off the rope out at what is really an old-fashioned cow corner. This is good tight stuff from Canning. Into Scotland's 2 strongest batters, not overawed. It's been an awfully long wait for not just these 2 sides, Andrew, but for women's international cricket in general. A real dearth of it through the pandemic. Both associate cricket and women's cricket and particularly suffering. It's hit into the offside and almost half a misfield, but a mix-up, a direct hit is going to be very close, but it's taken by Ava Canning, and I just wonder if that Gabby Lewis throw had been left alone. It was being backed up. That could have been out with a direct hit with the mix-up between the Bryce sisters.
Yeah, small misfield from Lara Moritz, but it's actually gone straight to Gabby Lewis, and they do tell you to never run on a misfield. There was a little bit of miscommunication. Very close.
Back live with you now. This one hit into the offside. It's to Gabby Lewis, a great diving stop. More runs saved. Real determination on show. Which, yeah, just to illustrate that point, Andrew, just 55 women's T20Is in the whole year of 2020, and that included the T20 World Cup down in Australia. So straight after the pandemic, almost no games played, and in 2021 so far, just 12 international matches. The only associates to get on the pitch at any point since the pandemic were Austria and Germany last summer. Ireland obviously a test nation now, but coming up against their associate Celtic rivals. 4 overs gone, it's 17 for 1. Let's see if we can take a look at this Ireland women's squad, a 15-player squad.
Yep, the players missing out today. Some very good young prospects. Georgina Dempsey, Jane Maguire, Jenny Sparrow as well, who comes from that Leinster side as well. And also Rachel Delaney, who's made a great start to the season. Marion opening batter. Probably a little bit more suited by the longer format, but she's been excellent and well deserves her call-up.
You'd like to think, even though these are important international matches, that Ed Joyce, the Ireland women's head coach, will certainly use all 15 of his squad at some point during the week?
Yeah, I'd say so. With the likes of Sparrow and Maguire especially, who brings something a little bit different. Jenny Sparrow, hard-hitting lower middle order batter and medium pace bowler, and Jane Maguire, good quick bowler, gets exaggerated seam movement away. Outside
the off stump and just inside those guidelines for a wide not given. Good tight start this from Ireland.
It's been an excellent start, and they seem to be a buzz in the field here. Obviously an early wicket can sometimes settle those nerves as well, and they'll have been so anxious to have get out for so long. And I just feel they're a very cohesive unit at the moment, and very young team as well, and there seems to be plenty of energy out there.
Thuds into the pad of Catherine Bryce, who certainly hasn't looked as fluent as her sister to start with. Two standing umpires today, Alan Neal and Jareth McCready. Philip Thompson, the match referee, who'll be taking proceedings for the entire series, saw him out at the toss with Isabel Joyce. We'll be hearing from Isabel Joyce just shortly, former Ireland women's captain, part of the commentary team. A very proud woman watching on today, I have no doubt. More movement again into the right-handers, but at a much more express pace. Bryce gets it away down to third man for a single.
Yeah, good fielding down at third man from Amy Hunter. As you said before, these wicket keepers have a canny knack of being excellent fielders as well. She's already shown off a couple of times today. Good throws in over the top to Shauna Kavanagh.
Again, a real sense of timing, and Stormont wicket known as a very good batting wicket. We were up here last week for one of the men's IP50 matches, certainly a high scoring affair. The Warriors getting up around 290 and the Knights not able to chase it down, but always a good batting wicket here. The ground looks in pristine condition. Philip McCormick and his team have had no rugby on either of the outfields during the winter, so it's as well as it's ever looked. One of the small benefits of the COVID pandemic. One's hit into the offside, a really good diving stop at backward point.
Yeah, excellent pressure being built up. Lara Moritz, excellent in there at backward point. Very good, energetic fielder. Yeah, very hard to have a guide on what might be a power score here, Lenny. It's usually a very good batting wicket. We've seen already so far that the outfield is fast, even though the amount of rain on it yesterday. But the Ireland women's side, they're squeezing well here, supporting each other up in the field.
Hit just wide of Lara Moritz at backward point, and they will have time to get back for two. Amy Hunter coming around from the third man fielding position. That's going to get us to the end of the fifth over. Bring about a commentary change. Pass over to two Irish legends, Isabel Joyce and Alan Lewis.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Great enthusiasm round here in Stormont, has to be said, Isabel. Wonderful to see after such a long time. For both teams to be playing cricket at the highest level.
Yes, well, they both played in the same tournament the last time that they took to the field. It was in Scotland in September 2019. Ava Canning to continue on her debut. Good length again from her, worked into the leg side by Catherine Bryce, the skipper. Yeah, they're just so excited to get out there. Speaking to any of the girls, they're not even talking about winning the series, about future, nothing. It's just all about the here and now and getting out on the pitch again.
Well, of course, there's been so many changes, and what a start for Ava Canning. Had the misfortune last year, breaking her ankle, and here she is today on debut, wicket in her first over.
Floats it up in the air, but doesn't manage to carry to Celeste Rack at mid-on. Yeah, she's a very tall bowler, comes from the Leinster Cricket Club where they've a very healthy women's section, so no doubt they're all watching from home. We're also joined by people from around the world, so if you are one of those who's joining us for the first international game on these shores in a very long time, you're very welcome to the Celtic International T20 Challenge between Scotland and Ireland. Taking on the fielder at mid-on, shy at the stumps.
Oh, great bit of fielding. What a fantastic bit of fielding from Celeste Rack. Dead aim, and the Irish team have gone wild out there. Fantastic bit of fielding to bring the end of Sarah Bryce. Run out.
Yeah, good pick up from Rack, quick release, and the direct hit. It had to be a direct hit. Sarah Bryce doesn't look too happy, has a look back, but those ones are always so tight, aren't they? Direct hits. So that's a huge wicket for the Irish. Sarah Bryce, really often the mainstay of this Scotland batting attack. She's clapped in. It had to be an awesome piece of fielding from the Irish, and you feel like they're not going to leave anything out on the pitch today.
Well, what a great start that is, Isabel. And there's something about fielding mid-on, mid-off. The ball was hit terribly hard by Sarah Bryce, but Celeste Rack attacked it, and it's so vital when you're at mid-on, mid-off that you get that first bit of fielding right, but to hit directly, also gather as she did, such excitement. So a fantastic start for Ireland here. Scotland 21 for 2, and you mentioned viewers. Almost already 7,600 viewers as we speak, Isabel. Wonderful for both teams.
Yeah, women's sport is just on the up as Catherine Bryce faces up. Of course, the non-striker Kaiji Mcgill is the new batter. Well fielded in mid-wicket from Leah Paul. Solitary left-hander in the team.
I think it's something they've worked terribly hard on, and you can see the benefits of it already today. Getting down to the ball, that type of stop, Isabel, it's so crucial, lifting your team, lifting your bowlers. But they've been very, very lively in the field here in the first 5 overs.
Well bowled from Ava Canning. That's a great length from her. She's been so impressive here on her debut. Yeah, the fielding aspect has been huge for the Irish team. And so many things have come out of COVID as obviously so upsetting, but there have been positives. It's about finding those positives. They've fielded in small pods, and they've had a lot of one-to-one training, so that fielding they can really, really break it down and work on it, and we're seeing the benefits here. Worked into the leg side from Catherine Bryce again. Orla Prendergast comes in and makes easy work of that.
Well, of course, Isabel, your brother Ed, head coach of the Irish women's team, and Glenn Quirrell, assistant coach. They have been working terribly hard, it has to be said. And I think they're as equally excited just to be playing cricket.
100%. And it's the end of the power play. Scotland 22 for 2, so you have to say Ireland on top at this point. Yeah, every time there was a tour cancelled, we had a couple of Ireland tours against Scotland cancelled and ICC tournaments pushed back. All understandable given the circumstances, but every time poor Ed was consoled in the family WhatsApp group. And I'm sure the whole family are delighted for him that he's finally getting to officiate another game. Not officiate, sorry, to be the head coach of another game in Ireland.
Well, I regularly see the eyes thrown up to heaven as another tour was cancelled. But he's really enjoying the job.
Absolutely. He really does enjoy it. He's someone who gets consumed by whatever he's doing. I think that's why he was so successful in his playing career, and hopefully he'll enjoy a lot of success with this team. So we're going to have a change of bowling. It's Lara Moritz. Favourite player AB de Villiers, a bit of a surprise given she's a seam bowler, but who doesn't like watching AB?
Well, of course, it must be her South African background, eh?
Good start from Moritz on the money straight away. She's come back from Australia where she's spent a couple of seasons honing her skills, and that first ball out for me shows what she's learned, because she always struggled a little bit starting out her spell.
I've detected a wee bit of a change of action, a lot more work on her left-hand side there, first delivery.
Short. Good bit of bounce there. Surprise Catherine Bryce. Absolutely, and I think as well it's just she's got older and stronger. It was always what she was told to do. Keep your front half strong and all that kind of stuff, but until you have the strength to do it, you can be told all you want.
Very true, Isabel. A lot of younger bowlers now suffering from unnecessary injury as they try and build up strength. There's Lara Moritz again. The thing this morning, Isabel, that I've noticed, Ireland have bowled a very good line. Very little has strayed down the leg side at all here today. We've had no extra balls, which is another huge plus, either over the front line or wides. And now I see Gabby Lewis stationed out at deep point just to potentially save that boundary, but it's been really disciplined from Ireland here today.
Short again and flashed out again. Catherine Bryce showing some frustration. Well, I think something that we've noticed in the Arcus Super Series, which all these players have been playing in the last month or so, was just how tidy everything is. The fielding, the lack of extras, they're running between the wickets, all those little bits and pieces that should be a given but aren't necessarily, have been worked on over the past 20 months. They've used that time well, and we're seeing kind of a tidy unit here in the field. Straighter, they take on the fielder in point. Cara Murray, wayward, but it's well backed up.
That really was a big chance, Isabel. She was a long way, and that just shows the frustration for the Scotland skipper. So eager and desperate to get down the other end, and she would have left her partner stranded there with a good throw from Cara Murray.
I think Kaiji Mcgill was surprised to be called through, so she was a little bit on the back foot. So it's always an awkward one, picking up and releasing in point. So something that Cara Murray will no doubt have to work on. And there we have it, the first extra of the day. It was bound to happen, Alan. Once you mentioned how tight the bowling had been, but just aiming to bowl a little bit straighter there, Moritz. So frustrating for her not to be able to get out of her first over. Short and played
That's
down
a good
to third
shot.
man. Very good pick up from Amy Hunter. Good throw from her. More so that she got rid of the ball quickly than it was a good throw, so prevented the second run. So end of the 7th over. Lara Mertz is first, and Scotland are 25 for 2.
Of course, that ball fielded by Amy Hunter. Amy would regularly keep wicket for the Typhoons in the domestic Irish Super 2s Championship, but Shauna Kavanagh's got the gloves today, who does the job for the Scorchers, and of course a really exciting day for Amy Hunter on debut here, and unnatural surroundings for her. She regularly wicket keeps, but I wouldn't imagine she'd be too concerned about that today. Wonderful moment for her, her family, and everyone associated, because I think this is an exciting time for the Ireland women's team. Such a young team, and again we've spoken earlier about the number of younger players, which was nearly, if we look at it coldly, Isabel, a mistake. Some of the players coming in a little bit too young and potentially losing the appetite, but she's got a ferocious appetite for the game, and it's great to see them playing here today.
So Ava Canning will bowl through her 4th over. She's looked a little bit slower, that ball. It floated, not sure if it was an intentional slower ball, but it ended up being so.
Well, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt there, Isabel, because she's bowled the ball into the wicket here this morning, and she's bowled very, very well. And again, with that little bit of in-dip, that natural in-dipping action which she has, and she's bowled with great rhythm here this morning.
No ball called. And Kaiji Mcgill plays her favourite shot, which is a ramp shot. So that is a no ball being signalled. We'll see a free hit for an overstep. Probably the first foot she's put wrong all day.
Absolutely. The no balls are a killer. Wides you can forgive. You'll always have a budget of a number of wides in an innings, but you don't like to see the
Slower
front
ball
line.
again. Pulled into the leg side, attacked by Amy Hunter, and they're going to come back and take on the arm. That's a good call from Mcgill. Appreciative applause from their teammates.
Very good call that from Katie McGill. She pushed the first one quickly, turned the right way. And again, it's interesting, probably from an Irish perspective, Amy Hunter now coming in that little bit more, which is probably correct.
Good comeback from Ava Canning. That's one thing I really like about Ava Canning. She's just so keen on training her cricket. What really impressed me, she's in all the Irish squads, but she always wanted to come to the Leinster sessions to train with her friends, and I think that's what's going to keep her in the game. Good length again from Canning. She has pushed that cover fielder out for a bit of extra protection on the offside, but that one pushed to Laura Delaney in extra cover. It's just really there for the wider ball, which she's not planning on bowling. Other two fielders out are deep mid-wicket. It's Amy Hunter, you mentioned before, and deep square leg.
Well, of course, we've had a lot of rain. Catherine Bryce now 8 from 22.
And we have the second wide of the day, one down leg. So getting a little bit tired, you'd have to think here, Ava Canning. 4th over in a row. First international for her. Played in the air just over the head of Celeste Rack in mid-on. They will take on her throw. And a good decision again from Mcgill. So she's come in with real intent with her running between the wickets. It's not going to be easy to score the runs out here. It looks like a lovely batting track, but the outfield has taken a lot of rain. Ball not coming on as much as you might think. Ava Canning's such a tall bowler, she gets the ball to bounce a little bit more.
Slipped through Maritz's hands. Out to deep point, it's picked up by Gabby Lewis. So it's the end of a very impressive spell from Ava Canning on debut. And she and the Irish team will be delighted with her efforts. 8 gone. The score now 34.
So it's just 17 runs off her 4 overs. She got her first international wicket. Bowled Sarah Bryce with an excellent Yorker. You've mentioned how great it is to be playing out here, and you would be nowhere without the groundsmen here at Stormont. So Phil McCormick and Ross Waite putting in Trojan effort after the huge amount of rainfall over the last few days to get the women out here playing on such a lovely batting track. So huge thanks to them. Lara Moritz returns for her second from the city end. Short, and that's cut Kaiji Mcgill in half. That was a little bit quicker from Lara Moritz. Seems to have found her rhythm, Alan.
She has, there's no doubt about that, and she's been very good here so far this morning, like all the Irish bowlers. And it's interesting, actually, they've bowled a very good length, very little to drive.
Shuffles down and pulls just a little punch into the leg side from Mcgill.
Katie McGill's been a bundle of energy here this morning. She's run well for her partner, but she's busy at the crease, and it's interesting because the premium in terms of shot making, Isabel, is where the ball's been hit along the ground. The outfield itself is quite quick, but if it goes early it just stops because we've had so much rain.
An odd pull shot. Catherine Bryce getting a little bit bogged down, so it looks to go leg side, but it's a bit too quick for her. And if you are joining us, you're very welcome to the Celtic International T20 Challenge between Ireland and Scotland. We're welcoming viewers from all around the world. Do let us know where you're watching from and let us know what you think. We're on all the social media channels at Cricket Ireland, on Twitter and Facebook. And that's in the air. Chance, bowler is underneath it. Lara Moritz takes the catch. That's wicket number 3. That's the big one. Catherine Bryce has to go.
That's fantastic work from Lara Moritz, and huge excitement amongst the Irish players there. Catherine Bryce getting very bogged down in her innings. No real flow. She had a sumptuous extra cover drive early on in her innings, but she's fallen here, and Ireland on top. 35 for 3 midway through the 9th over, and great reward for them. They've been very disciplined this morning. Fantastic effort from Ireland in these early stages. And you speak about viewers, Isabel, I'm sure we have a few interested ones in Australia at the moment. I'm thinking of Una Raymond Hoey, Mary Waldron, Kim Garth, Saw a couple of tweets from Kim wishing the girls all the best, and of course she is plying her trade so successfully, like all of them, improving all the time, and she's had a fantastic time. Many accolades and awards, and rightly so. She's a fantastic cricketer.
Yeah, tough decision for her, but understandable. Wants to play full-time cricket, so playing her cricket for Victoria in Australia. And we have another debutante. That's Ailsa Lister. She's playing her first match for Scotland today, coming in at number 5. The right-handed batter. So Lara Moritz, have to give a mention to her for that last wicket. She really toiled away at Catherine Bryce, gave her nothing. Catherine got really frustrated. Usually a free-scoring batter, the Scotland captain. So just a reward for her. First ball short. And welcome to the crease, Ailsa Lister.
That certainly is welcome to the crease. Well, I was doing my research, Isabel, and I wasn't able to find out a huge amount about Ailsa Lister, but we're going to find out today, I hope. She's come in at 5. Scotland in a wee bit of trouble here. Almost through the 9th over. 35 for 3 they are.
Good shot, big appeal. Turned down by umpire
There
Alan Neal.
certainly seemed to be a sound there, Isabel. I'm not too sure what but there was a delayed appeal by Ireland. Shauna Kavanagh was more convinced, but I certainly felt I heard something. I don't know about you.
Your hearing must be better than mine, Alan.
Always was, Isabel. You should know that.
There's 9 gone. Scotland 35 for 3. So you can hear Laura Delaney, Ireland captain, calling her players, moving the field. The first spinner of the day comes on, Celeste Rack, will be bowling from the Dundonald end, the diminutive leg spinner from Australia, but has an Irish passport. Also has German relations. I'm sure her German grandparents are watching very proudly now as Celeste plays again for Ireland.
Physiotherapist by profession.
Yes, and a very good one as well, I can attest to that.
Very good.
Does great work looking after my mum.
Oh, excellent.
So she's a big favourite in the Joyce household.
Excellent.
Look after mum, and you're definitely one of the favourites. Right, here we go. Slow one to start. Cut through, but there is protection, so we'll just be the single. What a throw Orla Prendergast has. That's straight over the top.
Yeah, first things of slowing things down. Celeste Rack coming into the attack. She'll be looking really to bring Scottish batters forward.
Yeah, I don't mind her bowling a little bit short. You know, you need to get into your spell as a leg spinner, so she's going to bowl it into the pitch, I'd say, the first few until she feels comfortable. Oh, that's an interesting back foot, front foot defence.
You're sounding like one of our co-commentators here, Isabel. Like Andrew Leonard talks about giving leg spinners love.
Yes,
You've got to give leg spinners
You
love.
do.
I don't know, like, why can't you give every bowler some love?
A straight through, big appeal. Turned down, and they'll come through for a leg by.
Everything happening there. We had an LB appeal, stumps hit directly from Lara
Things
Moritz.
just happen when leg spinners come on, Alan. That's why you're gonna need to. No, it's the hardest thing to do. I have a lot of respect for leg spinners, so you have to look after them. My main worry right now is her fielders on the leg side are right on the rope, and I think they need to come in about 10 steps. Oh, that's a drag down, pulled in between those two fielders. Teenager Amy Hunter picks up and throws.
There's no doubt, yes, although they're such a feature now in the modern game. Leg spinners, wrist spinners, deuceras, toppies, sliders.
I think they say they've got all those. They've probably got one of them. Most leg spinners. Better from Rack. In the air, they're taking on mid-off. Rebecca Stokel has a shy at the stumps, and if she'd hit, that was out. Great pick-up from her there. Stayed on her feet, which I love to see.
Well, I think Lister was just looking to get herself going there.
In the air again, kind of hacked leg side. Gabby Lewis comes around, keeps it to 2.
It's interesting here. McGill has been in a long time, Izzy. She's faced 8 deliveries. So it just gives you an indication of, but she's been certainly the busiest in both batting and running. And it's time for a change, Isabel. It's time for Andrew Blair-White and Andrew Leonard.
Oh, Alan, unfortunately we've got another 5 overs with you here.
Oh, excellent. I'm really looking forward to it, ABW. Andrew. It's been very good from Ireland here this morning, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been absolutely excellent in the field, the bowling, very few wide deliveries, extras, and they've already saved, I'd say, 5 to 10 runs in the field. I've been very impressed with Lara Moritz as well, bowling with good pace, getting it through very well.
I think the other thing tactically also was, obviously, the two Bryces are the two recognised players in Ireland, chose to bowl Ola Prendergast 3 overs, Ireland's main frontline seamer. I think that's the sort of positive thinking that there's obviously a lot of thought has gone into this series, and from that point of view I was delighted to see that, I have to say.
Yes, and they bowled Ava Canning straight through as well, and you know, with the coverage we've done of the IP50 men's series, how I'm a keen exponent of bowlers bowling through when they're bowling very well, especially when you're a good exponent of the new ball as Ava is. She was bringing the ball in sharply to the right-handers, and she bowled very impressively for her international debut. Certainly didn't seem to have any nerves and was bang on the money straight away.
Absolutely. 7. She's busy. It's Kaiji Mcgill. She's looked for that ram shot quite a few times. And probably a reason for it, Ireland dispensing with anything, even at 45 fine leg, deep backward square.
I think that's a canny enough move. I wouldn't mind as a captain a player taking that scoop shot on. It's not a percentage shot.
When we talk about percentage shots, that's the old Chinese cut, but it's yielded 4. And again, a very good piece of bowling from Lara Moritz. Unlucky there. I always feel though, and like obviously they've positioned deep backward square, that's there for a bad ball. I would much prefer to see, you know, fine leg there. Anyone out at kind of deep backward square is there for all along. I think it's a bit of a nothing position, to be honest, for me. But obviously they're doing it to a plan, and to be fair, you're right, Andrew, they did say they've bowled a very disciplined, particularly line here this morning, and then you can kind of tend to chase other things. Laura Delaney shifting her a bit finer now.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Alan, in terms of, I think at that sort of position you've either got to have the fielder just backward but pretty much on square, or in fine leg. At the moment we're in a slightly middle of nowhere position that's not really saving either option.
In war terms you'd call it no man's land.
But Lara Moritz has been very impressive. Another good over so far here. She just needs to finish up.
They've been taking mid-on and mid-off on, and once without success. Fantastic bit of fielding from Celeste Rack, but it is something that I think should be done a lot more. Very difficult position to field both of those, and we'll see here on the replay a little bit more attacking.
Yeah, it was close. Good fielding from Rebecca Stokel, and the Ireland fielding has been impressive overall. But as you say, usually in 2020 cricket, both in the men's and women's format, mid-on and mid-off tend to be on the ring. There usually is a single there.
former playing colleague of mine, used to have apoplexy with people, Trent Johnson. I don't know whether Trent is viewing here today, but he talked absolutely quite rightly that if you can perfect that ability to field in those positions and caution a player getting one, it sets a tone, and he's so right.
Yeah, I've been impressed though with Scotland in terms of that they did take mid-on off without success and have continued to do so. They haven't gone back in their ways.
Celeste Rack has got into a good rhythm now. Yeah, just a little bit fuller there.
Yeah, that'll do Ailsa Lister's confidence no end of good. A first international boundary for her. A full toss from Celeste Rack. It was there to be hit, but you still got to pierce the gap. And she bisects Laura Delaney and Ava Canning between extra cover and mid-off to bring up the Scotland 50 in the 12th over.
Oh, that's out. Again, that was a shortish ball. She didn't really, again, no pace on it at all. It's one of those things, it's actually very difficult to get the ball away square on the offside when there's no pace on it, just sticking a wee bit in the pitch. But a good catch from Laura Moritz. And Lister will be disappointed. Looked good while she was there on debut. But she's gone now, and Scotland reeling at 52 for 4, Andrew.
Yeah, an excellent wicket for the Ireland women to take there. Just keep chipping away, making sure that no momentum can be gained. And it's good bowling from Rack. It's an excellent catch from Lara Moritz as well. And that'll end Ailsa Lister's first stay at the crease in international cricket.
And it's brought Priyana's Chatterjee to the wicket. 27 years old, experienced all-rounder. She's made 19 appearances, also bowls a bit of medium pace. There's 12 wickets for her country. So it'll be interesting to see what she'll do with the bat here today, Andrew.
As you say, more than useful all-rounder. Gets herself away immediately with a single out to Rebecca Stokel, a deep square leg. That will conclude the 12th over with Scotland 53 for 4. Up over 10,000 people watching us at the moment, bringing you these pictures from Stormont. The first game of this very exciting 4-game series. As we have a look at the scorecard there, Scotland women will be a little bit disappointed. A couple of them, the two Bryce sisters, both getting into double figures and not going on. And an awful lot probably rests on Mcgill at this stage.
Well, Mcgill has certainly been the busiest of the cricketers for Scotland on show here today, with both running and 13 off 14. Both Bryce sisters, particularly Catherine, struggled a bit, but they struggled because Ireland bowled a very good length and line, very little straight down the leg side, and I'm sure the coaching staff will be very pleased. Chatterjee got off the mark of the last over very well, getting back deep in the crease, tucking the ball away for 1. And it brings a change of bowling, Andrew. Cara Murray.
Yeah, Murray starting with a loosener that Chatterjee gets away to deep square leg for a single. A local to these parts, plays her cricket for Waringstown, does Cara Murray. And good to see her this year. She's been bowling very well in the Super 2s, bowling a lot flatter than she used to as a leg spinner.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Andrew, because it's the one thing I've noticed both on commentary and watching the games. Just seems to be bowling that little bit flatter. There she is. Favourite cricketer, of which there's a few. Ben Stokes seems to be a very popular man amongst the Irish women's team. More of that later. Well done.
It's been an interesting ploy from Laura Delaney. The only thing is that she's had to go to her 5th bowler now in the 13th over. So is Cara Murray going to bowl 4 straight from the City end here?
Well, I think the other thing is, don't forget the skipper herself. Can bowl tidy little medium pacers, and it might be just a trick. So again, there's a big responsibility on the bowler themselves, Andrew, to do a job. And again, not much damage. Number of full tosses here from Cara Murray.
As you say, Laura Delaney potentially to use. Leah Paul has been working on her left arm off spin as well. Excellent bowler herself. And another single from Chatterjee. Not just getting out of the middle of the bat there. 5 singles from that first over from Cara Murray. Ends the 13th over. Scotland 58 for 4.
She'll be happy to get out of jail with just 5 from that over, and there are the bowling figures. Very impressive up top. Ava Canning on debut, taking a wicket. Orla Prendergast, very consistent, and Laura Mitz there, 3 overs, 1 for 10, and they've all collectively bowled very well. And we do have a change of bowling. Skipper deciding it's time to grab this by the scruff of the neck, and I'm going to take the responsibility myself. An interesting field here. 5-4 offside field, 3 out on the leg side. There she is, Lisa Healy, Leinster club of course as well. And I think Laura Delaney could be the bowler that might bowl the numbers that you're talking about, Andrew. I think with that just skiddy little seamers that she bowls. Something in speaking to her, actually, I spoke about maybe getting another fielder over the offside, deal with 3 out on the leg side, force them to hit into the leg side, save those boundaries. Just there, that particular area, if another fielder, that maybe even that mid wicket came over to that area square of the wicket on the offside, get 3 fielders backward a square, bowl that back of a length at her pace, skidding it on.
Good from Chatterjee, getting it out into the offside for a single. As you say, I think with the line she's looking to bowl, which is that probably the 4th, 5th stump line, keep her up to the stumps, can often be hard to generate pace. But that mid-wicket isn't particularly, I know they're trying to make sure that they're not just getting an easy single on the onside. I get that. As mid-wicket, as we speak, just off your camera there, is actually being moved to a short fine leg. Maybe McGill has gone for a few scoops. That's a prudent call.
Oh, that's a cracking shot from Kaiji Mcgill. That little bit shorter from Laura Delaney, and it's been cracked through the offside. Played very well here this morning, Kaiji Mcgill. And as you say, Andrew, the big thing is find the gap, which she duly did, and she hit that hard through extra cover. Orla Prendergast, no chance out there. That's very good fielding. Laura Moritz.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with McGill though. Just even shaping up to play a few of these scoop shots, it does put seeds of doubt in a captain's mind, in a bowler's mind. It makes that field position change, and then you can access other parts of the ground. She's been very good, very busy at the crease.
And there she was, trying to work that ball away in front to square on the leg side. So that ends Laura Delaney's over. 5 from it. Brings us to the end of the 14th. So Ireland will be happy with their work this morning, Andrew. McGill on 19 off 19. But they're going to have to up the ante now. 6 overs remaining here at Stormont on a beautiful day. A little bit chilly, it has to be said, but that's sometimes somewhat part of the norm in Stormont. I've regularly seen rain around. Of course, we had torrential rain, and the ground staff have done a wonderful job in getting us to this point today of having cricket, and a very wise decision to bring the game forward to 11 o'clock. That's gone high. Against the spin. So you can see clearly the intent there now from Scotland. They've got to get on with it a wee bit here to try and post what would be conceivably a decent score to defend.
Yeah, Chatterjee taking on mid-on there, getting it over, but plugged a little bit. It's good bowling from Murray there. As I say, it would be very interesting to see Laura Delaney how she manages her bowlers in the last 5 overs. You'd expect Moritz and Prendergast will come back to bowl out, but who bowls those other 3 overs?
Well, again, you spoke about Leah Paul, who's bowled very well in the Super 2s, the America's Super 2 series this season. Hasn't got the ball in her hand today. Forced away in the offside there by Chatterjee.
Yeah, just 32 deliveries for the Scottish women's team to deal with here. They want to be getting that minimum in excess of 100.
Fielded by Amy Hunter out there at deep square leg. And whether Scotland have been missing out on a few of these deliveries here, only getting singles. Cara Murray really probably this morning, and it just hasn't hit her straps.
Yeah, but another tight over with only 5 runs coming off it. That ends the 15th over, with Scotland moving on to 68 for 4, as you can see from the scorecard there. Kaiji Mcgill 20 not out, Chatterjee 9 not out, and it's time for myself and Alan to depart the commentary box for the time being, and we'll hand you over to Isabel Joyce and Andrew Leonard.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. So big 5 overs to come for Scotland. Starting to build a little bit of momentum now. Laura Delaney returns. It's a ramp shot from Chatterjee into the vacant fine leg area, but not enough pace on that delivery for it to go to the boundary, so just the 2.
Well, we timed that break well, didn't we?
We did.
I think the only little bit of spits of rain we got were both when you or I were off call. Open air commentary box. Just wonderful to have international cricket back, Isabel, isn't it?
It is. It's really exciting for us to be here and watching, and actually we've got some spectators in as well, those who are going to brave the cold. It's a balmy 10 degrees here, so probably nicer to watch from your couch.
Balmy 10 degrees.
Yeah, it's but I'm chalking it up here. Trying to get a few more people to come during the week. Well, we're allowed spectators all week. We've got match 2 tomorrow at 1 p.m, match 3 on Wednesday at 1 p.m, and match 4 Thursday at 11 a.m. So do come along if you're in the area. In the air again, into the leg side. Gabby Lewis comes underneath it. A good catch taken, and that's the end of Chatterjee. First wicket from Laura Delaney.
Yeah, really good catch. Nestled underneath it out at what's an old-fashioned cow corner fielding position. Very straight mid-wicket. Good contact from Chatterjee, but she couldn't get the elevation to clear. Gabby Lewis out there comes about 5 yards in, taking it the old Australian way, reverse cup, never in doubt. Really good bowling, good reward for Delaney, her first wicket, as you said. And Ireland women just feeling like they're on top. Look at that, crowds in the background, great to see.
Yeah, no one loves taking a wicket more than, well, possibly Lara Moritz, but Laura Delaney loves to get in the wickets.
Yeah, you could see the joy there, couldn't you? The little jump up as the catch was held onto. Good tactics as well. I've been impressed with the way this Irish women's side is set up. Very clearly immediately going to that defensive 3 fielders in the deep on the leg side throughout the latter stages here. The hitting stage is going to be Fraser in at number 7.
It's very much wickets by pressure, isn't it? Laura bowls a nagging line length and speed, so not really going to get through your defences with a blistering pace, but if you're going to try and score more than one a ball, then you're going to find it difficult when she's bowling. Full toss and through. Plays across that one, Mcgill. Delaney takes a second in the over.
Yeah, it was a real low full toss, wasn't it? Coming across the ball, Fraser. In fact, Mcgill, and it just thuds into leg stump. She thuds off the pad. Cannons into the leg stump. 2 wickets in the over for Delaney. Good reward for the Irish women's captain. Mcgill goes for 20. Of course, she was on strike with the batters having crossed with the ball in the air.
Yeah, disappointing end for her. She was probably the pick of the batters so far. And that brings to the middle Abby Aitken-Drummond. And with today's appearance, she equals Carrie Carswell as most capped Scottish woman with 152. So a big day for her.
You'd have to think she'll go past that record in the coming days. Sunshine now streaming across Stormont. So a wind coming across the ground.
And we've gone ultra defensive with the field here. Delaney having to field that one herself. No mid-wicket. That's the end of the 16th. Scotland in a bit of trouble. 70 for 6.
Let's take a look at the bowling figures, Isabel. 6 bowlers used so far. Difficult for leg spinners in conditions like this. Celeste Rack picking up the 1 wicket. Orla Prendergast and Ava Canning opening up. Ava Canning already bowled out 4 overs, 1 for 17. What a debut for her. We'll probably see Prendergast come back and Moritz complete at the far city end of the ground. Maybe Laura Delaney might have to bowl another over or 2 in the death as well.
Yeah, she's well practiced at that. Has bowled in every position in the bowling order. It's Lara Moritz to return straight through.
Impressed by the pace both Moritz and Prendergast have bowled at. 2 sharpest bowlers on display, and kind of some really old-fashioned tactics you don't see in too many T20 internationals. Canning bowling her 4 straight through at the far end.
Short from Maurizio, you're absolutely right. I love that about Lara. It's unusual a lot of the time in Irish cricket to want to bowl fast, like properly aggressive bowling, because in our wickets a lot of the time just bowling a nagging line in length you can get your wickets that way, but she is an aggressive fast bowler, and as you can hear from the girls out there in the middle, she kind of brings an energy when she's bowling. Short again off the edge from Catherine Fraser down to third man.
Izzy, let me take you back to the women's T20 qualifier, which was the last international action for both these sides, hosted up there in Scotland. You were over commentating at that. It was such disappointment for Ireland missing out on getting down to the T20 World Cup in Australia, which would have been such a brilliant experience. Absolutely, you always want to qualify for everything you can. I mean, that being said, it was such an inexperienced side. You could see that from just some of the decisions out in the middle. They probably lost it rather than Thailand winning the game. Ireland kind of had a few brain explosions, as I like to call them, and managed to lose the game. And it might have been just a bit too early for that group to be in a world tournament. Edged again from Drummond this time. So the singles won't hurt Ireland too much in the last 4 overs. They'll be happy with a single a ball. So yeah, I think if they were going to miss out on anything, that tournament was the one to miss. But huge 12 months ahead. They really want to qualify for the next 2 World Cups coming up. Yeah, 2 qualifiers for the Irish women later in the year. First, the European T20 Qualifier. which comes up in September. Hopefully the COVID regulations will have eased enough to allow that tournament to take place. Just one side getting through to the global qualifier from that, so that's not going to necessarily be the easiest path.
No, it's huge, but I suppose the more competitions you play in where there's real consequences, the better. So it's early for this group to have those kind of consequences, but that one's straight through. What a ball from Ritz. It's beating everything. So if you're going to win, then the qualifiers after that, you need to get used to playing almost a cup style format. Good experience for them early on in the year.
Yeah, that tournament in fact is going to be in August, the very end of August, not September. I'll just correct myself. And then later in the year, the tournament that has been abandoned what feels like a dozen times, maybe 4 or 5 times pushed back, but a lot of common sense shown, pushed back to December now. That's going to be the women's ODI qualifier in Sri Lanka. Really stacked field there, trying to get through to New Zealand in 2022.
Yeah, that's the big one. I mean, we say that that it's the big one, but the qualifiers in August are huge as well. Yeah, it's huge, and because that one, if they get through, they get into the challenge, which is what it means they get future tours. They'll get more consistent cricket. So really good that that's been pushed back. It gives all the teams a chance to play some competitive cricket. Laura Delaney returning for her third.
You'd have played a lot of cricket in the subcontinent as well. Is I think the qualifier previously in Sri Lanka you're at?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of cricket, not actually a huge amount. I think the problem for the Ireland women has always been we play our first cricket in a country at a qualifier. So, not a lot of lessons learned beforehand. So you see the Ireland Wolves going and playing a tough tournament in Bangladesh. They would have learned a huge amount from that, but there are consequences in terms of their selection and all that kind of stuff. There's no consequences outside of that. So we've always played in those countries at qualifiers, which means that you don't really have time to learn and fail without consequences. That's a tough one. So I hope that that's going to be the next thing that the Irish team gets, is just bilateral series abroad in the likes of India and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh.
And tell us how difficult the challenge is going to be. It's 10 teams, just 3 places on offer: Bangladesh, Ireland, Pakistan, West Indies, Sri Lanka. So that one's hit into the leg side, just going to be probably a single straight out to the sweeper fielder. Thailand, who improved completely out of sight. Zimbabwe, Papua New Guinea, United States and the Netherlands. It's going to be a really tall task for Joyce and his team to target one of those 3 qualification spots.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult. I mean, when you look at that field, you've got the West Indies, who won a World Cup in the recent past. They're a little bit hit and miss, but they have world class players, a number of them at the top of the world rankings. Sri Lanka have some really, really good spinners, and it's obviously their home turf. And some hard-hitting top-order batters, and I mean the last time we played them there, they just absolutely played us off the park because it was their home patch. Pakistan are a very professional unit, again a lot of spinners, and the conditions will suit them. And then Thailand, they're kind of the new kids on the block, and who can watch them and not going to hope that they do well? Everyone wants to see them playing at world tournaments. So, and then you've got USA, they've got a new coach in Julia Price, so I know they're coming through and they're doing a lot of work. They've done a lot of work during COVID. And
of course, Netherlands pipping Scotland just before the pandemic to actually get there to this ODI World Cup qualifier. Yeah,
it was a surprise. I would say that Scotland would have thought that they had more of a chance, but the Netherlands have a few world-class players, not least Ster Callis. She plays for the Northern Diamonds in England, and very unusual for a Dutch or an Irish player to be contracted in that competition, but she did really, really well last season and is playing again this year, so she's a huge player for them. And I think they'll be eyeing up probably maybe not qualification, but beating some of the teams around them.
2 overs remain here at Stormont in the first of 4 of the Celtic Challenge series between Ireland women and Scotland women. It's 78 for 6. Orla Prendergast takes the ball from the city end of the ground to bowl her final over, the penultimate of the innings, and Orla Prendergast possibly the star of the future of this Irish team.
Yeah. She's just so exciting, isn't she? If you can, I don't know if you've noticed her just moving around the field, but she's just a supreme athlete. I mean, if I looked like that when I was running, I think I wouldn't walk. She's just she's great to watch, and you can see how easy she runs in. It makes everything look kind of easy. Orla, nice tall action as well, so gets a good bit of extra bounce and gets a good bit of in swing. But as we saw, she also is a top batter. Made her debut 100 a couple of weeks ago.
I think you're doing yourself a little bit of a disservice there, Isabel.
Well, which part?
Well, the way you moved around the field. Remember that brilliant catch you took at the 2016 World T20?
I said the way I looked. It doesn't look good, but it's not all about how it looks. That's it. Inside edge. That one's another boundary, a welcome boundary for Scotland and Catherine Fraser.
Yeah, it comes off the inside edge and just evades the dive of Shauna Kavanagh, who's got the gloves on today. Might have just been half a chance for her, maybe not to scoop it up and take the catch, but certainly prevent the boundary. But that's the extra pace that Prendergast brings. Skews off the inside edge, and as soon as it beat, Kavanagh raced away across the boundary. Late runs for Scotland. Can they push up towards 100? They'll need 17 off the last 9 deliveries to get there.
And through again, just too quick, Prendergast. Yeah, she's a real talent. Of course, she's one of the 7 semi-pro players that Ireland have. She was the latest one added to the roster, so she's showing real improvement.
Yeah, just very quickly is. Over 11,000 people concurrently watching the stream right now. Messages coming in from all over the world. Western Australia, Perth, watching on. Amazing to see the exposure, not just for Irish cricket but for the women's game as well.
Exactly. Well, I think cricket's a game where no matter who's playing, you just can switch it on and there's meaning to it, especially an international series like this after such a layoff. I know certainly when I was doing the night feeds in January and February, it was great to have cricket on overnight. Just switch it on. Keeps you distracted at 3 a.m. Yeah. So I'm sure some of the Australians that are watching hopefully are at the same position. Straight through her and bowled. Prendergast gets another one.
What a sight for a fast bowler. The leg stump goes cannoning out of the ground, cartwheeling, and comes out with such force that it's stuck in the turf. The perfect delivery, the natural shape from the Pembroke all-rounder. This is magnificent bowling. And as you say, I think a little bit too quick. Leg stump takes a walk and gets lodged in the turf.
You see what Orla Prendergast really likes. She just fixes her hair after the leg stump goes cartwheeling. She's an understated person, but what a competitor and what a ball. Just too quick, as we said, for the youngster Catherine Fraser.
Yeah, great to have you for this first of 4 T20 internationals. Perhaps a little bit of a surprise here. Going to see leg spin for the final over the innings. Don't too often see leg spin used for the very final over. Sometimes Rashid Khan performs that task for Afghanistan, but we're going to see the leg breaks to Celeste Rack. 6 deliveries remain.
Floated and swatted. It won't beat that fielder on the boundary. A great catch from Rebecca Stokel. She's picked out the tallest fielder on the pitch, and that's the end for the Abby Aitken-Drummond.
It was a loopy full toss, really, wasn't it, from Celeste Rack? Smashed high and handsome, and you thought it was going all the way for 6, but it was into the wind. That was the key. And Rebecca Stokel judged that incredibly well. She never looked under pressure. Underneath it, big smile from her. The move for leg spin from the final over of the innings is a risk, and that risk was diced with there. It could have been 6, but it ends up finding the wicket. A second for Rack today. Big smile for her too.
Possibly something that the Ireland skipper and coaching staff knew that we don't. That's why they're in their positions and we're in ours.
They do look a really well drilled outfit. I don't think it'll come as any surprise. I know he's your brother, Ed Joyce, the head coach, but an outstanding operator at every level of the game, and he's had the most frustrating tenure as women's coach. So little cricket for him.
Down the wicket for Abtaha Maqsood, her first delivery. Gabby Lewis underneath it. Great catch from her. That's 2 from 2 for Celeste Rack. And 2 catches and 2 balls, both into the leg side, into the wind, and that's the end of Maqsood.
The last catch was a very good one. This one is even better. Smashed again into the deep. Better delivery this time from Rack, and Lewis had to run 15-20 yards around to her right, a little reminiscent of the catch Stuart Thompson took in this ground just a week ago. Gabby Lewis made it look easier though. Stuart Thompson was a bit fancy Dan as he was clean on with one hand. Really good athleticism from Gabby Lewis. She's gone full length to her right. She's got the diving, got 2 hands to it. And this turn to leg spin in the final over, what do I know? A little bit of a risk. She's on a hat-trick.
Yeah, it's Samantha Hago who comes in, but she won't be facing the last ball. It'll be Megan McCall as the batters swapped ends. I think Celeste Rack is looking for her hat-trick, and no one's quite sure what happened there. I think it's come off the wicketkeeper and hit the stumps, but for a second there Rack thought she had her hat-trick.
Yeah, I think it was through to Shauna Kavanagh, the keeper, and Shauna's whipped the bails off quickly, but batter stayed in their crease, so no hat-trick for Rack, but 3 wickets already for the leg spinner.
That's an excellent shot over mid-off. That's 4 runs, and it's not perhaps out of the textbook, but effective.
He sort of swatted down the ground, as you say, really effective, straight as a die. Mid-off is up in the circle. Flighted delivery from Rack. Long on is back. But there's never any fielders there. So good late runs, 3 more deliveries, 2 more deliveries in fact to work with for Scotland.
Flatter from Rack, and that's well bowled. Good turn, good sharp turn. She recognises that McCall's going to play with a kind of a flat bat, more of a hockey shot.
Very reminiscent of Ciara Medcalf there, with that drift, that dip, that turn.
Yeah, she has all the deliveries, but it's just about getting into your spell on a day that's 10 degrees and you haven't played any international cricket in 20 months. So she will have been begging for her 4th over.
And that's going to close it out with a dot. It thuds into the pad. Not too often you see the batters not attempt to run off the very final delivery, but we'll get our graphics updated now in just a moment. 87 for 9 is going to be the final score for the Scottish Wildcats. Winning the toss, deciding to bat first. Really right the way throughout their innings, struggling to gain any momentum. Wickets falling regularly.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like they were waiting for Ireland to give them some loose deliveries. No real intent when Ireland bowled really well and good lines and lengths very tightly. And that's the story so far. Mcgill top scoring with 20. It's a bit of a tale of woe for Scotland, but you never know until the second team bats.
You do never know. 87 for 9 from their 20 overs, a full allocation. Mcgill top scoring with 20 off 22. Outside of that, no real partnerships to shout about. The 2 big wickets falling early. Orla Prendergast and Laura Moritz, perhaps the pick of the bowlers, even though Rack and Delaney are the ones who end up with the wickets. Really well drilled, good performance from the Ireland women. They've been so nervous, washed out yesterday coming back here after what's felt like an eternity. Look at the bottom of your screen, Isabel. None of those partnerships gaining any momentum really, apart from maybe the 4th wicket partnership.
Well, it didn't look like a nervous performance from the Irish, but it certainly did from the Scottish. As you say, hardly anyone got going. Partnerships, nothing above 20 there. So work to do for them in the field. They'll have to take all 10 wickets if they're going to win this match 1 of the Celtic International T20
The Challenge Series.
Challenge, not championship.
Not the championship. Yeah, we've got 4 games. This is the first of 4. Starting today at 11 a.m. Second and third T20Is will be tomorrow and Wednesday at 1 o'clock before we revert to the 11 a.m. start to allow Scotland to get home. But we're going to bring you every ball of the series, and let's hope, even though it's cold and blustery, we should be set fair for the second innings. We're going to leave you and take a bit of a break. Scotland Wildcats 87 for 9 means the Ireland women will need 88 to go 1-0 up in the series. We'll be back with all the action in about 10 to 15 minutes time.
And welcome back to Stormont in Northern Ireland for match one in the Celtic Women's T20.
Stormont this afternoon. And would you please welcome the opening bats for Ireland, Gabby Lewis and Rebecca Stokel.
Sorry, for the Celtic International T20 Challenge, Ireland are batting second. They have to chase down 88 to win. Opening batters Rebecca Stokel and Gabby Lewis facing up, and it'll be Becky Glenn to open the bowling off spinner.
Yeah, both Rebecca Stokel and Gabby Lewis usually hard hitting batters, and I would assume with a small run chase like this you're looking to try and break the back of it very early, make sure it doesn't get any way nervy. They fielded very well, they bowled extremely well, Ireland. Now they just got to finish the job. They should be chasing a score like 88, and you'd like to hope that these two can certainly get into their straps early. But Becky Glenn to open the bowling from the Dundonald end.
A solid defence from Stokel early. I like this decision from Scotland. They usually open with the right arm inswing of their skipper, Catherine Bryce, but going for spin early, knowing that these two will prefer the pace to open up. Flatter this time and worked into the leg side. Ireland off the mark.
Yeah, good start from Rebecca Stokel, just turning that one away, the deep square leg. I think you're very right there, Isabel, especially with Gabby Lewis. She'd be looking to have plenty more pace on the ball to work with. Certainly from the first couple of deliveries we've seen from Glenn, she's not going to give that pace. She's going to be right in accurate.
Fielded in extra cover. Abta Maksud doing a good job there. She's done a huge amount of work on her fielding. One of 3 players from the Scotland team who will be featuring in the 100 this year. Down the track from Lewis, but correctly decides against going over the top.
Yeah, clever bowling from Glenn there. Seeing Lewis come down the track, just held that back slightly.
Onto one knee, pulled away by Lewis. Manages to bisect the fielders on the leg side. First boundary for Ireland.
Yeah, excellent shot from Gabby Lewis. She's usually an aggressive batter. She wants to get on with things, and as you can see from the replay here, Glenn maybe a little bit short this time round.
Certainly with the pace that she bowled, that it was too short, needed to be a bit fuller, and that's the problem when you're bowling against Lewis. So quick to pick up length. Again, shorter onto the back foot, doesn't manage to get that through the offside, so she'll be disappointed with that, but a solid start from Ireland. The end of the first, they're 5 for none.
It's a good start all round. Becky Glenn tight there, apart from that one a slight drag down, but wasn't a bad ball by any means. But when you're facing somebody like Gabby Lewis, who's been in such good form as well in the Super 2 series, she's always going to punish you.
Yeah, no surprise to see your favourite player, Sophie Devine, probably the hardest hitting batter in world cricket. And as you can see, she made her debut a long time ago, 2014, but 20 of those months she's been without an Irish cap. All of these players playing their first cricket in a long time. It's going to be Catherine Bryce, the Scotland skipper, who'll take the second over from the City end. And she bowls some fierce in-swing. An excellent bowler. Usually takes the first over, but taking the second today. So difficult to bowl to both of these batters, Andrew, both so tall. Difficult to find a length where they can't either get on the front or the back foot.
Yeah, having a look at Rebecca Stokel, not the only Ireland women's player to have Ben Stokes as their favourite player. It's obviously something they've all talked about.
Or maybe they didn't talk about it, and that's why ended up picking the same player, but there are worse players to have as your favourite player. Such an amazing player to watch, Ben Stokes. I'd prefer if they chose women, but there hasn't been a lot of women's cricket on television or online like there is now, so they probably just don't know too many players. A bit full, driven strongly down, and they take on the fielder. A single for Rebecca Stokel. A bit of worry for second hearts in the mouths as they took on a misfield. So often it can lead to disaster.
Yeah, looked to be a small bit of hesitation as well from Stokel, but she gets in. It's very hard hitting, looks to target straight.
Well, has very long levers, doesn't she? So it's a good option to target straight. So Gabby Lewis facing up. A solid defence, just having a look at the start. And you know, when you're chasing 88, you have that luxury, don't you?
Yeah, I'd hazard a guess that probably the first 5-6 overs of this run chase will decide this game. I think if Ireland can get off to a solid start, be none down, only one down in the power play.
Big shout, questions asked, and she's given. Gabby Lewis has to go. It's an LBW, it's an early blow for Ireland. Catherine Bryce takes the first wicket.
Yeah, a huge wicket taken from Catherine Bryce, leading by example yet again. That in-swing to Gabby Lewis. She was trying to tuck this away on the leg side, and it did look fairly adjacent there. Looking at our replay, she was playing across herself. She'll be a little bit disappointed with that, but that's a key wicket for Scotland. Lewis can be such a destructive player, but she only departs for 4 today. And Ireland 6 for 1.
Destructive is the word for Lewis when she gets going. And if she's in for any length of time, you know there are going to be runs scored. But that brings the skipper, Laura Delaney, out into the middle. She joins Rebecca Stokel. A huge experience, Laura Delaney, at being the anchor player in the Irish order for many years now. So loves the challenge, and she'll relish this opportunity.
And good to see her up the order at number 3 as well, making herself the focal point of the innings, which I think is right. As you say, she's played an awful lot of great knocks for Ireland over the last number of years, where she's been the cement, and you've got players chipping in around her. And at that number 3 position, you can certainly build your innings, especially in a run chase such as this.
Right up in the block hole to finish that first over from Catherine Bryce. A successful one for her. Takes the first wicket, goes for just the one run. And Ireland 6 for 1 at the end of the second. So I think that Ireland were planning on batting first, but I think it was nearly good for them. They got out in the field, just get everyone out on the pitch. Your first game back, get rid of a few nerves.
Yeah, exactly, and I thought they were absolutely superb in the field, as you can see from Laura Delaney, favourite player, Alyssa Healy. Certainly an excellent player, Alyssa Healy. Scored so many runs for Australia over the last number of years. She too a very destructive opening batter.
She is that, and what I really like about Healy is that she's a great advocate for the women's game. She's not one of these players who thinks that she's above playing against teams ranked below her. She'll really support any women's team that's playing, which I have a lot of respect for, seeing as she's a leading player in the women's game internationally. New bowler, Chatterjee, comes on from the Dundonald end. Short to start off. Gets away with that one. Stokel probably a little bit surprised by the length. Bowls with a bit of a way shape, Priyana's Chatterjee.
Yeah, experienced all-rounder. Just bowls medium pace. Just one over from Glenn up top. Maybe that was with Lewis at the crease. Maybe they didn't want pace on for Gabby Lewis.
Draws a full shot from Stokel, and that's the way shape that we mentioned earlier. She's lucky she didn't really play through that shot, would have taken the edge. And Sarah Bryce behind the stumps is one of the best keepers going around. Excellent glove work from her. Captain Catherine Bryce's younger sister. Swatted away again from Stokel.
It's been an excellent start in the field here from Scotland. They've been very tight. They'll have gone out. They probably would have wanted a few more runs on the board, but no freebies out there to start off with. They got the key wicket of Gabby Lewis as well, and if they were to get one of these two, they'd certainly be in the ascendancy.
Strongly driven from Stokel, takes on the fielder. Good pick up. If it had been a hit, that she was in trouble, Stokel. I think that's Samantha Hago in mid-off. Only thing that saved Stokel's perhaps that it was to her left, so she had to move her body around to hit the stumps, and didn't manage to recreate the run out from the first innings where Celeste Rack got that fabulous run out.
Yeah, I think that's a good option, trying to take on mid-on and mid-off. We did see obviously Rack throw the stumps down in the first innings with a super piece of fielding, but usually there are singles there, and especially when you're under a little bit of pressure, it's so key to try and rotate the strike as much as possible.
Short and wide and missed out on by Laura Delaney, and I apologise, it's not Hago in mid-off, it's actually teenager Catherine Fraser. We'll be seeing her off spin, no doubt, very soon. 3 players in this Scotland team I mentioned are playing in the 100. They are the skipper Catherine Bryce, she's playing for the Loughborough Lightning. Sarah Bryce is playing for the Oval Invincibles, and Abtaha Maqsood, Birmingham Phoenix. So great experience for them, really good opportunity. And again, that movement just doing enough to miss the outside edge of Delaney. And that's the end of 3, Ireland 7 for 1.
Yeah, I'd say in this Scotland bowling lineup we'll see an awful lot of spin. As you say, I suspect we'll see Catherine Fraser later on, also Abtaha Maqsood, quality leg spin bowler, alongside Becky Glenn. I presume will re-enter the attack at some stage as well. I doubt there'll be an awful lot of pace for the Ireland batters to work with, and they're going to have to adapt with that.
Yeah, I know they've faced a lot of spin thrown by their coaching staff over the last 20 months. Sometimes it's a little bit different facing the women though than the men, so it'll take some adjustments. So Catherine Bryce returns for her second. She's bowling from the City end. I wonder, is the fact that the total or the target's so low playing on the minds of Ireland? They're very watchful, scoring very slowly. A slower ball pulled away, missed out on for Rebecca Stokel. Frustration for her, you can see from her body language that she feels like she's missed an opportunity.
She rarely doesn't give it away when she's not happy with her shot, Rebecca Stokel, but she's trying to get a little bit of impetus into this innings.
Onto the back foot, a very miserly bowler, Catherine Bryce, a really cool operator. The leader of this Scotland team, she'll be very upset with herself that she didn't make an impact with the bat, so she'll be wanting to make her presence felt with the ball. Pulled the leg side wide of mid-on, a good single taken from Stokel. She knew she'd beaten mid-wicket, so she was safe to come through.
Yeah, tight again though here from Scotland, and as you say, Isabel, I don't know whether it's maybe slightly beginning to wear on the Irish batters' minds that sometimes the target can be so small that you don't go out with enough intent. 8 for 1, 3.5 overs.
That movement in towards the batter, just doing for Laura Delaney there. Wanted to look to guide that one to third man, but it was too tight to her body. Yeah, sometimes you, as you say, you go out too slowly and then you get frustrated and some false shots come. So Scotland playing a good hand here. They knew they had to be really tight from the start if they've any chance. But work to the leg side and straight off the mark there. Laura Delaney knew from the moment she hit it that she was going to get her single. So a really good over from Catherine Bryce there. 4 gone, Ireland just 9 for 1.
Yeah, being tight bowling from Scotland, and it's usually an extremely good batting pitches here at Stormont, and today looks no different. But that being said, bar perhaps Kaiji Mcgill at times, I thought in the Scotland innings very few seem to be able to time the ball maybe quite as much as you want. There's been such a lack of cricket, you can expect a bit of ring rustiness, I suppose, but I certainly don't think this game is over yet. Even chasing a target such as 88, I think there's a bit in there for the Scotland bowlers to work with.
So Chatterjee starts as she finished her last over, right on the money. Yeah, I think if you're coming in to a season having not played any actual cricket, the bowling is nearly the easier one to hit the ground running with, because you can practice that, just run in and hit a length, whereas batting, there's only so much you can practice indoors. It's just not the same being in the middle, not the same batting on grass wickets. Short again, and Delaney not able to reach that, but it's not a wide, so she's having a word with herself, get closer to the ball.
Yeah, I think she's shuffling across a fair bit there, Laura Delaney. It certainly looked to the naked eye for us in the commentary position that was very wide. But I think she is shuffling across, maybe trying to access that leg side field.
Really good shape from Chatterjee. Laura Delaney going on the back foot there when she probably should have come forward, but just looking a little bit at sea here. Ireland needs someone to grab the innings and really get it moving forward. But played into the leg side, and probably was a single there if she'd looked to take it on, but if you don't go straight away, you really can't get going, can you?
Yeah, well, I know you talk an awful lot, Isabel, about shot tempo. I feel that hasn't been brilliant so far from Ireland. They've been playing those in-between shots. Should be even trying to cover sweeper, deep square leg, to try and even nestle one in the gap and just run through for quick singles. We haven't seen much strike rotation.
It's nicely guided, but straight to point. Yeah, you're very right. I think sometimes, or maybe Ireland are just a little bit too excited. They're going too hard when they should just be trying to get singles and break the back of this target with getting up and down the crease, just looking at 5, 6 and over, rather than those boundaries that are so hard to come by.
Yeah, another tight delivery from Chatterjee there. That completes the 5th over. A maiden from her. The Ireland women staggering along at the moment. 9 for 1 after 5 overs. As you can see from the scorecard there, there's going to be a double change in the commentary box. Myself and Isabel are going to depart for a little bit, and Alan Lewis and Andrew Leonard will take you through the next 5 overs.
Thank you very much, Andrew and Isabel. Alan, any thoughts at the halfway stage of a comfortable Irish chase on their return to international cricket? They're already dashed 9 for 1 after 5.
Yeah, very slow progress so far. And you can see it there in the statistics. Stokel 4 from 13, Delaney the captain 1 from 11, and there is a struggle. It's going to be a chase that I think might just go the distance, Andrew, here.
Going to see a change in bowling into the attack. Maqsood with her leg spin, and a mix-up, a real mix-up. If the stumps are taken off, they are. It's going to be the 2nd wicket. Laura Delaney immediately called Rebecca Stokel through. Rebecca Stokel did not move, and by the time she did get moving, it was too late.
Yeah, a lot of indecision there, and really, from the point of view of it, let's have a look at it here. Laura Delaney taking off, and really not her call, and Stokel responded, but she was run out by a distance there. And Ireland now reeling at 9 for 2 in the 6th, Andrew.
Super fielding from Catherine Bryce, the Scottish captain. Picked up one-handed with her left hand, making good ground across to her left, and immediately, as is the modern way, the jump step into the throw. Throw comes in, one bounce to Maqsood, and she does a really good job to take the bails off. Scotland are a buzz. They might not have got the runs they wanted on the board. They're doing the business with the ball and in the field at the moment.
They certainly are. And there's no doubt that within the Irish ranks there's nerves out there. The skipper might have to play a skipper's role here.
Full toss hit down the ground, the final over of the power play. So the final over the fielding restrictions, just 2 fielders allowed outside the circle there, out at deep mid-wicket and deep cover. Delaney looking to use her feet there, just couldn't get any elevation. Ends up hitting it straight to mid-off.
We see the run rate over 5 already, Andrew, in what might have been regarded as something that would have been a comfortable chase. Of course, losing Gabby Lewis early. Strong hitting right hand batsman. LBW to Catherine Bryce, and Stoke will run out.
Shauna Kavanagh in at number 4, wicketkeeper batsman for Ireland. Batter, even. Pembroke Cricket Club, and she starts with a really powerful sweep shot that just cannons into the leg of Kaiji Mcgill. She'll get off the mark from her first delivery.
Yeah, got into a good position there. Shauna Kavanagh, immediate urgency, something that Kaiji Mcgill brought to Scotland's innings, Andrew. That urgency of running.
Delaney down the track again, but just ends up almost yorking herself. Good tight start this from the leg spin of Abjitha Maqsood.
That's a good cut shot. From Laura Delaney, and picked up by Samantha Hago there deep, running around quickly. Brings us to the end of the power play, as you say, Andrew. There she is, Shauna Kavanagh. Pembroke Cricket Club, Meg Lanning, her favourite, or Josh Butler. Okay.
Nothing wrong with having 2.
No, certainly not.
Made her debut all the way back in 2011. Been involved in the setup for an awfully long time now. Just talking to her father, Charlie Kavanagh, who's here today. Crowds allowed back in for the first time to international sport with the different regulations in Northern Ireland, and that's great to see. Chatterjee is going to continue. Been impressed with Chatterjee from what I've seen so far, Alan. For the figures as well. 1 for 1 after 2.1 overs. Don't see that too often in T20 international cricket.
The bowling generally has been good, but Chatterjee has bowled very well here up front, getting the ball full, forcing Ireland batters onto that front foot and bowling a good line also.
Just down the leg side this time, and there's no fielder behind square on the leg side, so Delaney immediately calls 2, but even though herself and Kavanagh very quick between the wickets, no time to get back for the second, just a single.
Now Hago got to the ball quickly there. Save a second run. Something that Kaiji Mcgill, Scottish innings, did very well, running between the wickets.
Too many dots at the moment for the Irish batting line-up. Just really getting bogged down. What do you do in this situation, Alan? Obviously a couple of wickets falling, required run rate nudging up towards a run of ball. A lot of pressure, good captaincy from Scotland, 6 fielders in the circle.
What you've got to try and do is, in one sense, try and get the ball to where fielders are least, and that's on the leg side, that gap that they've not employing fine leg at all. Square leg in. Really pressing here, Scotland, and that's clever captaincy.
Good Yorker, good follow-up from Chatterjee. Into her third over, has just given away 2 runs remarkably. 27-year-old, born in Dundee. Her 20th T20I here today. Spent a bit of time just before the pandemic down in New Zealand, playing in the Wellington women's side. Their domestic stuff, and we still have some players away, like Ava Richardson in New Zealand, Mary Waldron in Australia. They'll obviously come back in likely for the qualifiers, Alan.
Una Raymond Hoey also, who's progressed very well for the Ringwood Club, of course a club that both Rebecca Stokel and Leah Paul played for a season.
Just hit into the leg side again, that sweep shot from Kavanagh getting off strike. Yeah, those opportunities for pre-pandemic predominantly, although we've seen a few of the women stay down through the pandemic, been huge for the development of the game. You think about the boys' exchanges down to South Africa, a lot of the women going down to Australia and New Zealand in recent times. Cut shot straight to the fielder though, that sums up Ireland's innings so far. Really tight stuff from the Scottish bowlers. 7 gone, the score 14 for 2. And Ireland just digging themselves into a little bit of a hole here.
Very much so. And as you say, that's the sort of thing that can happen. That was a very good shot, forcefully hitting the offside there by Laura Delaney, but straight to the fielder, unfortunately for her and for Ireland. And as you say, Andrew, they've got to find a way.
This was a problem now with the power play ended and the fielding restrictions eased. 5 fielders allowed outside the circle. No pace being given to the Irish batters by...
Well, you'd kind of feel if you were in Scotland's shoes here, you'd keep squeezing.
Kavanagh gets the sweep shot out, and that's a really good placement because there is no one behind square in the leg side for even the leg spinner. So the immediate call from Delaney was 2. They'll get back comfortably. She looks comfortable in that sweep shot.
Plays it a lot, does Shauna Kavanagh. Plays the sweep shot a lot. And again, it's a sort of confidence shot. Get your head towards the ball. It's a very productive shot now in modern one-day cricket.
Beautiful flight. Tossed up outside the off stump, beats the attempted drive of Kavanagh. A nice little moment today for Laura Delaney. I'm not sure she'll be keeping track of this, but she draws level on T20 international caps for Ireland with Mary Waldron. Here's a sweep again. Change in field has brought a fielder into short fine leg, but it's going to beat her, and Kavanagh's quick between the wickets, so she'll get back for 2. Don't even need boundaries right now. If they can just get back for plenty of 1s and 2s, that'll be enough.
Well, of course, it's not a formidable total they're chasing here, Andrew. But the biggest thing, as you pointed out to earlier, is intent, and Shauna Kavanagh is showing that already.
Down the track this time, and she does really well to adjust her footwork to check. But we've seen turn, an appreciable turn, both for Celeste Rack.
Well, the interesting thing there, Andrew, technically, Shauna Kavanagh kind of planting that front foot, and it's very difficult to go anywhere from there.
Big appeal, mainly coming from Maksud, but she's twirling a web here. Kavanagh looking for that sweep shot again. Change in field looks a good one to me. 5 fielders on the leg side now, just 4 on the offside. Sweep again, but maybe no contact at all. It's ended up somehow going past everything. Oh, wait for the signal from the umpire. Maybe just a little bit of glove, a little bit of bat. A little bit for 2 more.
A little bit of an under edge, possibly.
So the end of the 8th over. It's 20 for 2. Target 88. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, that required run rate. Ireland can't afford to allow that to get over a run a ball, really. 5.67 at the moment. Still plenty of time for Ireland to turn this around.
Well, there is, Andrew, of course, but you're absolutely right. I think sometimes in watching, let's call it, the girls outside of the elite level, anything that gets over 6s can prove very much a handful to achieve. And again, I'm sure it'll be something Ed Joyce will be stressing, to use the power plays, but they've bowled very well, Scotland, here.
See the 5th bowler into the attack, and she's greeted immediately, Catherine Fraser, by being smashed down the ground. Good aggressive intent from Laura Delaney. Loves using her feet to the spinners. And the off breaks of Fraser are going to be attacked from the off. This is the 5th bowler used for the Scotland Wildcats.
Already has 15 wickets at 12. Catherine Fraser made her debut against Germany, Andrew.
Yeah, Germany huge improvers in the women's game, perhaps looking to bolt up the rankings a little like Thailand have, and they're going to be one of the 6 sides at the 2021 ICC Women's T20 World Cup Europe qualifier. It'll be France, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Scotland and Turkey. Turkey and France coming in for the first time. Great to see the growth of the game, Alan.
Absolutely. Catherine Fraser here looks to have a very good, strong action, Andrew. Gets through her action very well. Firing it in, which of course is the right tactic.
Good use of the feet and really powerfully hit, but very well fielded. That's a super stop at extra cover.
It's been a feature today. Ireland's batters finding fielders. That an excellent shot from Shauna Kavanagh, but straight to extra cover. Mcgill
Powerfully hit into the leg side this time again, using her feet down the ground, and just a little fumble in the deep. Haven't seen too much of that. The fielding that we've seen on show has been of a really good standard.
It certainly has. During the Scottish batting display, there was some superb catches, particularly in the deep, by Ireland. Never missed a trick, and of course a run out too.
Megan McCall with the misfield out at deep mid wicket. So you can see the intent changing from the Irish batters. 5 runs coming from that over, just a little less than they require. 9 overs gone. It's 25 for 2.
That asking rate, Andrew, is creeping towards 6 now very quickly, and will only get progressively worse from Ireland. Again, only 1 boundary in 9 overs for Ireland.
Yeah, and I suppose the early loss of Gabby Lewis, who's very much known as the dynamic power hitter, the stroke maker of this 11. Falling for 4, like her opening colleague Rebecca Stokel, but 63 to win now. 66 deliveries, could be in for a thriller as we see international cricket return to the island of Ireland. Delaney down the track. She really does like using her feet to the spinners, but this is a really good spell by Abtitha Maqsood. Good flight, good guile. Looks in real control of her leg breaks, Alan.
Certainly is, of course. One of 3 Scottish players playing in the 100-ball blast, being picked to play in it, and of course
the 100-ball blast, is that what you're calling it?
no, I'm calling it the 100-ball. I don't know where I got my blast, but
the 100 it's called.
The 100. Sorry about that, Andrew. Yeah, I got a bit blasted there. I don't know why.
Well, the Vitality T20 blast, we'll see Paul Sturley there. But the great thing about the 100 men's and women's competitions, 8 sides, 8 franchise teams. And as you say, 3 Scotland players selected in that as Kavanagh gets that one swept away really quick between the wickets. She's known for that outstanding athleticism. Yeah, going to end up somehow with buys, Alan. Talk me through that one.
Surprised. I would have thought the last ball of the last over looked a bit wide to me. I'd agree with, unless she got something on it, Andrew, but our umpires are closer than us.
Good aggressive intent, but brave, not just from Maqsood, but brave from Catherine Bryce, the Scottish women's captain, both mid-off and mid-on up in the circle. And despite the best efforts of Delaney and Kavanagh, they can't get it past either of them. That's building the pressure.
Interesting now. She's dropped long off back.
Hit into the leg side again. Both Kavanagh and Delaney looking to use their feet, but they just haven't been able to find any timing.
It's a little bit anxiety creeping in, Andrew, is what you'd say. Just that heave to the leg side. Try and play with the spin.
Good sweep shot, but the field is well set, so it's just going to be a single. The halfway stage of the chase. Ireland have only been able to get up to 29 for 2. It's advantage Scotland right now. I'll bid you adieu for the moment. I'll leave you over to not one but two ex-Ireland captains. Isabel Joyce will join Alan Lewis.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. Almost called you Alan there. That'd be a real insult, wouldn't it?
Certainly not. And there's the scorecard, and you can see it. It's been a real struggle. Laura Delaney, 8 from 23. Shona Kavanagh has shown intent since she's come to the wicket after the early loss of Gabby Lewis, and Stoke will run out 4 of 14, and it's been good captaincy here from Catherine Bryce.
Yeah, has to be tight the whole way through, so not afraid to use up Abtaha Maksud.
I've been impressed with Fraser so far. Nice action, good revolutions on the ball.
She's a real classical off spinner, isn't she? Poor flight that time. Kavanagh comes down, decides to swat it to the leg side instead. Really good decision. Not enough pace for her to hit that one down the ground. So less than 10 overs to go, Alan, and I'm not sure that we would have thought Ireland would need a further 58 runs for victory when we started out this innings. Down the wicket and gone. Catherine Fraser gets rid of the Ireland captain, stumped by Sarah Bryce. And Ireland in real trouble at the loss of their third wicket. Delaney's got to go.
Yeah, Laura Delaney really struggled out there today, getting the ball off the square, and as you can see, comes down the wicket there in no real position to get contact on the ball, and she'll be very disappointed there. But it's great work by Catherine Fraser and Sarah Bryce, and it brings Laura Delaney's innings to an end. She was there quite a while, but really Ireland are in trouble now, and it brings to the wicket Orla Prendergast, who's on the back of 100. Powerful striker of the ball when she gets in.
Incoming batter for Ireland, Orla Prendergast.
My favourite player, Jasper Bumrah, the all-rounder. No surprise to see she likes watching a seam bowler. But yeah, huge task for Prendergast, Ireland number 5. She's brought to the crease because Laura Delaney was dismissed by Fraser. Just went leg side of the ball, didn't she, Delaney? Looked like she was going for power rather than technique, so actually beat her outside edge onto the back foot and gets off the mark straight away. That's smart batting from Prendergast, and these two will like batting together, both very quick between the wickets, so hopefully they look at kind of being busy, getting around, like getting up and down the wicket.
Of course, they played their club cricket together, Isabel, both members of the Pembroke Club, so they should be well used to batting with one another. What a good start from Orla Prendergast, busy at the crease.
Down the wicket, and another one. Kavanagh goes. Another stumping for Catherine Fraser. Slowed that one up, kept it away from Kavanagh, who looked to add impetus to that innings. And another wicket for Scotland. Kavanagh's gone for 12.
Yes, and you can see it here, nearly premeditating. She comes down the wicket and really, she was looking to force that leg side to a ball that was a foot outside the off stump, and that was easy pickings for Sarah Bryce. And it brings the end of Shona Kavanagh, who did show good intent, while she had a lot of sweep shots, trying to force the ball away on the leg side. And Ireland in real trouble here, reeling at 31 for 4.
Yeah, it's been a very successful over for Scotland. Sometimes those kind of milestones can set a bit of panic in your mind. So 10 overs gone, Ireland realised they needed to get a move on. So
Well, you talk about getting a move on, Laura Moritz, she likes to put bat to ball, Laura Moritz, and normally hasn't batted as high for the Ireland women's team as this, coming in at 6. So I dare say there's reason for this, Isabel.
yeah, nosebleed territory for Lara, but she's put a lot of work into her batting. She showed that in the Arcus Super Series, and being rewarded for her success batting in that competition. On the back foot straight away. So Fraser finishes out the 11th. A successful one for her. 2 wickets from it. Ireland in real trouble. 31 for 4.
At the end of the 11th, and they've really struggled to get any sort of momentum going. And there can be lots of reasons for that, Isabel. Obviously, haven't played cricket, nerve settles in, and you can see it there. Just look at the number of balls faced in those totals. Laura Delaney 8 off 24, Rebecca Stokel 4 off 14, and that was really, there was no piercing in any sort of way in the power play to look to get the ball over the infield. And I suppose if you're to say anything from the point of view of the value of these games, and look at those bowling figures, Isabel.
Yeah, very impressive bowling display from Scotland. They've been very disciplined in the way that they've bowled. 1 wicket for Catherine Bryce, 2 for Fraser, and of course that run out where Rebecca Stokel was left stranded. Probably was a single on that occasion, but she never got going. So Catherine Bryce will return for her second spell. Order Prendergast facing up. I apologise, it's not Catherine Bryce, it's Kaiji Mcgill. She's top scorer in the Scotland batting innings. Turned herself into an all-rounder, used to bat right down the bottom of the order, but has put a lot of work into her batting. And you saw the energy she brought, you can see why they've moved her up the order.
She's had a good game, Kaiji Mcgill. She was very impressive.
Short on that occasion. Played just in front of point. Prendergast calls through for a second. She's taking on the throw. She knows how quick she is. Good decision from her. Not many would have got in, but she's fast enough to get there.
And that's the sort of thing, Isabel, they have to do. That's clever. She really pushed that first run quickly. One of the quickest players, of course. Played underage international football in an Irish context, and she's a very good player and a good cricket understanding, good cricketing pedigree.
Over the top, in the air, straight down the throat of mid-on, and Orla Prendergast throws her wicket away. Kaiji Mcgill, you can't keep her out of the game.
You certainly can't, and that was the easiest of, most comfortable of catches. Just trying to get the identity of who may have caught that, Isabel.
I think it might have been Becky Glenn. It's definitely not Becky Glenn, someone with longer hair.
All have long hair these days. That's the there's no fellas with peroxide dyed, or Miller from Australia with blue hair, or any of those
There's
sorts
no
of things.
fellas at all.
No, I know that, but I'm just talking about different hairstyles.
I know. Well, I mean, we had the
most
opening
are
bowler.
ponytail these days.
Opening bowler Becky Glenn has a short haircut, so that was what gave it away for me. But I think it's Abby Aitken Drummond at mid-on took that catch, an easy one for her. As we mentioned earlier, she's equalling Carrie Carswell as most capped Scotland player today. 152 caps. So great career for her. So Amy Hunter, the exciting Estonians batter to the crease, just 15 years old. Huge pressure on her. Sometimes though, youth doesn't feel the pressure. I certainly hope that's the case today.
Absolutely, but already 55 required from 51 deliveries. It's over sixes now, Isabel, and we all know once it creeps over that level of a run of ball, things get difficult.
Worked into the leg side, smart batting.
Always nice on debut to get off the mark, and eased into the leg side there by Amy Hunter. Exciting cricketer, Amy.
Yeah, really exciting to see more cricketers coming out of the Northern Cricket Unions. 2 today, Cara Murray and Amy Hunter. Great for the players that are coming up and starting their cricket to see where they can get to. Some role models from their area. Lara Moritz top edge, and it goes over the keeper's head. That's spun away. Maqsood gives chase, but she can't stop that one. That's the second boundary of the innings as Lara Moritz throws her head to the sky. She knows that wasn't where she meant to put it.
And that's the way Lara Moritz plays. She hits the ball to unorthodox places and doesn't mind one bit. And again, That was heaved from wide outside off stump, top edge. Over Mcgill for 4, and certainly a 4 that was needed, and interesting to see her favourite player is Jason Roy.
I think that gives you an idea of how Hunter likes to play. So over 6s won't be a worry for her, or Ben Stokes. So no wicketkeeper, but she does like to bowl as well, Amy Hunter. So no worries there. It'll be interesting to see how she approaches this. Won't have faced any of these bowlers before today. So you hope that these two have come to an understanding about how they're going to go about this chase on down the track.
Well, it's all going to be viewed here from Stormont, how they go about things, but there needs to be a degree of urgency now. 50 from 46, and already
She's really good at recognising what the batter's doing, isn't she, Fraser? Sees the batter coming down the track and either pulls the pace off the ball or flattens the delivery.
Well, the other thing is the field is a very good one. Just backward of square, no pace on the ball to get it fine.
Down the track, and just about manages to clip that one into the leg side. So she did well there. Hunter had committed to coming down the track. It probably wasn't there, but she managed to reach it and get down the other end. And brings Moritz on strike. It's a sorry looking score if you're just joining us. Ireland 39 for 5, all to do, but the target's only 88, so still an opportunity for them to get over the line. Their first game in the Celtic International T20 Challenge between Ireland and Scotland. If you are joining us, let us know what you think. We're on all of the social media channels at Cricket Ireland. That's over the top from Moritz, who manages to find the gap between extra cover and mid-off, and they will come back for a second. So she hasn't really hit one out the middle yet, Moritz, but she's had a bit of luck.
She has. I've been very impressed with Catherine Fraser here this afternoon. She's bowled beautifully from the Dundonald end. Real skill, really strong action. There you can see it, 3 overs, 2 for 10. And they've been energetic in the field, cleverly captained. They've kept pressing. No immediate sweeping of fielders out to the boundary with Ireland under pressure. Only 2 boundaries we've had in 12 overs of Ireland batting here today. And it's Mcgill again.
It's a good opportunity this week for a few of Ireland's players to stake a claim in the team. Of course, they're missing a few of their usual players, Eamon Richardson in New Zealand and Mary Waldron, Una Raymond-Towie in Australia, and those 3 would usually feature in a match day 11. So huge opportunity for Amy Hunter, who's debuting today, to put her hand up, play a match-winning performance down the track, and unfortunately it's not going to be her day today. Wafts outside off, and it's a third stumping for Sarah Bryce.
Yes, coming down the wicket really with no conviction there, Amy Hunter. And you can see this now on replay. And easy piece of work for Sarah Bryce there. Her third stumping, as you say, Isabel. So Ireland 41 for 6 in this run chase. And who would have thought that at the start of the innings, Isabel, Ireland would have been feeling remarkably confident, I would have thought. Obviously they haven't played any cricket, and it's kind of showing here.
We did say, unfortunately, at the end of the first innings that you don't know what a good score is until the second team have batted, and there's never been a truer case of that than today. But all is not lost. There's still batting to come. Leah Paul, Marion player, also a fan of Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes should come over to Ireland. Everyone over here likes watching him play. But Leah in an unusual position here for her, batting number 8. Usually bats up the top of the order. Didn't get to bowl today, so she's got plenty of cricket in her. likes to bat the full innings, so she'll no doubt want to stay there till the end and see her team home.
Well, staying there won't do it now. Ireland have to really try and press on the accelerator.
Big appeal, turned down. Hearts in the mouths in the Ireland tent there.
It all looks very nervous at the moment, doesn't it, Isabel?
It does. I hope that Joyce in the tent is telling the girls when they go out, be brave. Just looks like they're playing from a position of fear, as you kind of say. You can see why. It's been a long time since they played, and then the last time they did play, they kind of threw away qualification for a World Cup, so hopefully not too many thoughts of that playing on their minds, but you'd understand if there were.
I remembered it too well.
Looks to go leg side, appeal again. This time they will take the single. Lara Moritz paying attention this time.
Again, this has been a polished performance by Scotland. Real no intent coming from the Irish batting at all, and it's not really with any sort of conviction, and possibly creeping down the leg side.
Yeah, it looks like a new coach for Scotland has had a good impact. Mark Coles, his former Pakistan coach, will be pleased with this performance so far. A bit of a slower ball from Kaiji Mcgill. She's returning for her third.
So 42 for 6 at the end of the 14th, and it'll be interesting to hear the conversations between Lara Moritz and Leah Paul as they try and get somewhere close to this total.
One of the problems for this Irish team is they're very young, and what that means is there's not a huge amount of experience, which sounds like I'm saying something obvious, but they also don't have experience in the level below. In the Arcus Super Series, they wouldn't all have necessarily played huge parts in their teams up until the last couple of years. Catherine Fraser turns for her fourth.
Just doesn't seem to be the power there, Isabel, does there? The power to get the ball over the infield. Still, we're in the 15th over, mid-on and mid-off in. 6 inside the circle.
Down the track.
That's a good shot. Leah Paul, a good area for her over extra cover, and that's nice signs to see.
Yeah, she's a good mentality, a good kind of character, Leah Paul. Won't mind when she comes in, doesn't let things get to her. So really important to have that kind of mindset in this situation today. It wasn't put off coming down the track by the fact that there have already been 3 stumpings. And immediately mid-off goes to long off. Down the track again. Can only push it to mid-on. So it's obviously something they've been working on, the Irish team coming down the track, and I think that if that is the case, then Coach Ed Joyce won't be too worried about the fact that there have been a few stumpings. Down the track again over extra cover. Immediate calls of 2.
Trouble. No, she's just got home, Lara Moritz. It looked as if that was going to be trouble. Leah Paul immediately calling for 2. I'm not too sure that Lara Moritz was as keen, but she's just got home. Perhaps a better throw would have had her in trouble there, Isabel.
Well, I think that's why Paul called her through. She knew that the throw wasn't as powerful as possibly some others that are on the field, so good call from her. This time along the ground, picks out that fielder in extra cover. One of the things about Catherine Fraser, she gets through her overs so fast, doesn't she? You blink and the over is finished. Down again, edged fortuitously to third man, well fielded down there.
And that brings us to the end of the 15th over, and Ireland reeling 46 for 6. And Catherine Fraser has been very, very impressive, and it's just about time to hand over for the final stage of this match to Andrew Leonard and Andrew Blair White.
Thank you, guys. 5 overs remain, a tall task ahead of the Ireland women. That's the batting card so far. It's a sorry tale, really. Just Laura Delaney and Shauna Kavanagh looking in any way assured, but both falling stumped. Got Andrew Blair White with me here again. 41 to win off the remaining 5. That might have just come off the outside edge and been dropped. Andrew, it's going to be a really tall task for Laura Moritz and Leopold here.
Yeah, it is, but I suppose they've got to look at this as an opportunity. Probably not expected to win from this situation. They have a chance here to play a few shots, try and get Ireland close. Laura Moritz, we've seen, has worked an awful lot on her batting over the last 18 months, 2 years.
She's hit the ball really powerfully and she's powered it straight to extra cover. Fumbles it through, but mid-off picks up cleanly and no time for a single. Gonna have to start finding the rope, start finding some boundaries. Haven't had any maximums in either innings. So far it's a very big oval here at Stormont. Just the 2 boundaries, 4s so far for the Irish women in this chase, and you can see bringing about a change in the field. Maxud will come up into the circle behind square on the offside, and long on will go out, recognising that Moritz does have the power. What a catch that is! Unbelievable. Full length to her right. It was into the slot. It was hammered into the offside by Moritz, and that sums up Scotland's day. Clung on, an outstanding catch. Full length across to her right, one-handed. The catch of the day, probably the catch of the series.
Yeah, superb here from Catherine Bryce at extra cover. Moritz just trying to find that gap, but it's excellent anticipation first and then diving away. We saw last week, we were here for Stuart Thompson's one-hander, another one-hander here at Stormont, an absolutely brilliant catch, and Laura Moritz departs. And is that the end of Ireland's hopes?
Yeah, every bit as good. In fact, in my opinion, better than Stuart Thompson's. A stunner from Catherine Bryce, the Wildcats captain. She has led her side here fantastically, and Kaiji Mcgill is having the kind of dream day that you dream about through all those long winter nights. All this wait for the return for international cricket for both Ireland and Scotland. She's done it with the bat, she's doing it with the ball. Celeste Rack in at number 9, and she can't quite understand why that one's not signalled wide. Marion Cricket Club, and being a leg spinner, that's good to see. Favourite player, the great phenom Rashid Khan. .40 to win off 25 deliveries now, Andrew. It's not just a tall task, it looks hugely unlikely for this lower order. Ed Joyce will be so pleased with the bowling and fielding effort, but he's going to be disappointed with the way his side have gone about their batting.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing. I'd say now for these two, both Celeste Rack and Leopold, both good batters in their own right, but probably this wouldn't be their ideal scenario. So that ends the 16th over. Another excellent over from Mcgill. Ireland 48 for 7. After 16 they need a further 40 from the last 4 overs. Mcgill, as you can see there at the bottom of your screen, 3 for 9 in 3 overs to add to her 20 earlier today. And I was mentioning when on commentary with Isabel earlier, Lenny, that Mcgill actually looked to be potentially one of the only players today that really looked at home at the crease. Was busy for her 20, played a few scoops, played a couple of nice shots away to the boundary as well, and looked actually comfortable, and very few have today.
Yeah, I don't think it's because it's a bad batting wicket. I think just probably a lack of time in the middle for both sides. One of the picks of the bowlers today, in my opinion, going to come back and bowl her 4th over. Tatha Maxud, beautiful leg spinner. Looks in such good control of her leg breaks. Bowls them at a really good pace as well. Might not have taken a wicket yet today, but she's impressed me. And just dragged down the change of ends. Brings about a wide. Rack is backing up an awfully long way.
Yeah, with these two very quick runners, and they're going to have to try and manufacture something here if Ireland are to go close. Leopold likes the sweep shot. I'd say we might see that.
It's pumped into the leg side. There's going to be runs. And it's going to be 4 runs. We haven't seen many boundaries. Leopold perhaps a little bit too low down the order for some people's liking. She's trying to show why she should be getting up the order. Really good shot using her feet down the track to the pitch of the ball. That's a 4, a sorely needed 4 for Ireland.
Yeah, excellent from Leopold, as you can see from the replay there, bisecting the gap. No deep mid-wicket out there. Brings up the Ireland 50. Leopold usually opens the batting in 50 over cricket. Well down the order today though, but she's been impressive for her 11 so far.
Loopy full toss, just straying down the leg side. This change of ends doesn't seem to have suited Maqsood. There is a wind coming across the ground, so the ball will be getting dragged down the leg side to the left-hander. That's better. Hit into the leg side. She immediately calls 2. She's just going to scramble home for 1 because it's a really good piece of fielding by Lorna Jack at mid-wicket, who picks up cleanly, making good ground to her left.
Yeah, good from Paul though. Trying to be busy at the crease. Run a ball 12 so far. If they are going to go close here, they're going to have to try and run as hard as they can. Push everything and see whether they can get a few little fumbles in the field from Scotland. Maybe put them under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, good batting this, and just a little bit of pressure all of a sudden on Maqsood. Runs coming off every delivery of this over and the 2 wides. So Ireland just catching up with that run rate a bit. 32 to win off 21. It'll be a remarkable chase from here given the run scoring we've seen so far, with just the 3 wickets in hand. Pull down the track, just comes off the inside edge. Love seeing this. Celeste Rack is backing up about as far as you'll ever see.
Yep, I think that's clever cricket from herself. And as you say, when you just get a single off every delivery, just takes that 1 boundary that we got earlier in the over, and you're suddenly up at the run rate.
More runs coming here. This time for Celeste Rack again. Nobody behind square on the leg side. We've seen that quite often. And extraordinary running. Leopold has run 3 in the time it took Celeste Rack to run 2. And it hasn't mattered because she's been running to the danger end. So the first 3 of the innings now, Ireland just finding some momentum.
Yeah, lovely shot from Rack here. Using the field placings to her advantage. She likes to play behind square, usually both on the offside and the leg side. She's just lapped that away for 3. And Leopold, such a good athlete, great hockey player as well. As she grew up, she's plenty of pace, and she was well home by the time Celeste Rack was turning for 3.
Good delivery to finish, but 12 runs come from the over, the most expensive over of the innings. And it's just going to give Ireland a little bit of late hope. Still a tall task, 28 to win off 18 with just 3 overs remaining, but that over has given them some hope.
Yeah, it has, and it just makes everyone in the ground here at Stormont just think, could we be in for a fascinating last 18 deliveries? And it's interesting to see that the Scotland captain, Catherine Bryce, not taking any chances now. She's going to bring herself back into the attack and try to finish up this run chase.
Yeah, Catherine Bryce crucially has 2 overs left. You can see there on the Stormont scoreboard, bowler number 17. 2 overs bowled, 2 remain. So she will almost certainly bowl the 18th and the 20th over of the innings. They're going to need her to be at her very best to close out this win for Scotland. I don't think you could help but say that Scotland would be good value for their win if they can close it out. Both sides will be incredibly nervous trying to get over the line for the first time, this first international cricket in Ireland in so long, more than 600 days, 612 days. Driven straight to the fielder at extra cover. The Scottish fielding today has been outstanding.
Yeah, it's been absolutely superb. They're catching and their ground fielding, and so was Ireland's actually. It's been excellent with ball and in the field.
Down the ground, hit towards mid-off, and just as we say the fielding's outstanding, we see a catch go down. The first drop of the day that I can remember, it's Ava Canning, the record caps holder for Scotland women, coming forward. I think she initially took just half a step back because she thought the ball was maybe travelling over her head. She comes forward and puts down a simple chance.
Yeah, I think just slightly misjudging how well Celeste Rack had timed that ball. Slightly died on her on the way through, but they managed to scramble through for a single, and Ireland just clinging on here.
Paul's found the outside edge, and that's brilliant fielding. Saved 3 runs, diving full length across to her right. Sensational stuff from Chatterjee. So good with the ball. Critical stop, that 3-run saved.
Exactly. It was off the outside edge of the bat from Leah Paul, and one of those that could have gone away very quickly. Very importantly, keeping it to just a single.
Skied into the air, but fortunately for Celeste Rack and for Irish fans, no fielder underneath it. What a tonic this is. We've waited so long for today. Sunshine, a bit of warmth in the sun, and a thrilling finish in store perhaps. 25 to win off 14. Can these Irish batters find the rope? And these final 14 deliveries give us the grandstand finish we deserve. Down the track from Paul, just no real time in his, I think the bat thudding into the ground as she made contact with it. Another single.
It just takes a boundary here off this delivery, and suddenly Ireland will have gotten up to that 8 or 9 and over that they require. Interesting to see whether Rack maybe goes for another one of her scoops or something along those lines.
Thuds into the pad, a big appeal. Bryce gets the ball back to her sister, but Rack will just get home. We'll see the signal given correctly as leg buys. So it's going to remain a big ask. 23 runs to win it's going to be off the final 12 deliveries. You just felt like that ball needed to go for 4 or 6.
Yeah, probably. And Rack was taking the right option there, as the run out chance she was just home, as you can see on your replay. Scrambling through for a single, and probably at this time of the game, just 5 singles off and over is just not good enough, unfortunately, for the Ireland woman. Not through the fault of either Paul or Rack. They've actually batted pretty well in the circumstances. They've been both very busy and both really trying hard, but Kaiji Mcgill, I think, is going to change ends here, and she'll be looking to potentially add to already her great day of 3 wickets and 20 runs.
This partnership already worth 17 runs, and the second largest of the innings. It indicates how much Ireland have struggled, but yeah, perhaps no surprise to see Kaiji Mcgill, who's had a real dream day, the 23-year-old. 3 wickets and the top scorer with the bat, putting herself in player of the match contention. 12 deliveries remain. Beats her outside the off stump again. Leah Paul really backing up, just like we saw Rack doing, but Sarah Bryce with the gloves, outstanding. 3 stumpings today. Majestic with the gloves.
Yeah, she's been excellent. It's great to see herself and her sister Catherine leading this side together.
Just wait for the signal here. Perhaps coming off a little outside edge. Plenty of time for Rack to get back for 2. A little bit of steepling bounce, thudding off maybe the arm rather than the gloves. I think very hard to describe that as a drop chance. 2 runs coming to Rack.
Yeah, 21 off 10 deliveries. You do feel a boundary is going to have to come soon if they are to have any chance here. They won't mind whatever way it comes.
No ball called, and going to have a run added to it, so we'll have a free hit. We'll have 2 runs on. The delivery won't count in terms of reducing the number of deliveries left. So a big moment in the game here. It's going to be 19 to win off 10 and a free hit to come. Is there just a sliver of hope now for Ireland? Can Leah Paul get this one away for 4 or 6?
Well, it would be brilliant if that was to be the case. Mcgill overstepping, and maybe are we seeing just a little bit of nerves now in this Scotland team? We haven't seen it throughout the entirety today. Maybe Paul will try something fancy here. Everyone back on the leg side.
Another no ball called, so we're going to see 2 more runs to the total unless she can affect the run out. She can't. Kaiji Mcgill's dream day with the change of ends is turning into a bit of a nightmare. Signalled as leg buys, 2 more runs to the total. The ball does not count in terms of coming off legal deliveries bowled. Will have a free hit again, this time for Celeste Rack. 17 to win off 10. All of a sudden starting to look doable for Ireland.
Yeah, getting very tight here. Mcgill just has to maintain her discipline. She's bowled so well so far.
Slower ball, looks for the ramp shot. Celeste Rack, throw coming to the non-strikers end, the run out. He's not going to be affected as the bails don't get taken off. So just the single, not the result that Ireland would have been looking for. 16 to win off 9.
Yeah, they still need to find a boundary here. Whatever way it comes from Ireland, they do have to get something.
Down the leg side, signalled wide. All these freebies help. 2 no balls and a wide in this over. Just continuing to push that scoreboard north. Those graphics not right just now at the bottom of your screen. The score now moves to 73 for 7. 9 deliveries remain. So it's 15 to win off 9. 15 to win off 9 currently. That wide down the leg side. Looks for the ramp shot and ends up almost looking for the reverse scoop. Can't make any contact through to Bryce. Dot balls don't help Ireland's cause.
No, but with fine leg and third man in the ring, you can see what option Leopold's going for. There's an awful lot of protection in front of the wicket on both sides.
Down the track, powered into the deep. The immediate call is push. Can she get back for 2? She calls yes. The throw comes in. The stumps are taken off, and you can understand why Celeste Rack came back, but a really good, clean piece of fielding. The throw coming in right over the top of the stumps. That's going to be the 8th wicket. The game turns again.
Yeah, you can see what they're trying to do here. Celeste Rack trying to push, but it was always going to be a tough ask, and an excellent piece of fielding from the debutante Elsa Lister at long on, straight over the top. Easy for Mcgill to complete the honours. 14 required off just 7 deliveries, and you'd have to think Scotland are holding all the aces here.
So in at number 10 for Ireland's going to be Cara Murray. Leopold will remain on strike. Mcgill wants to come around the wicket, so Murray will have to come across at the non-striker's end. Graphics correct now. 14 to win off 7. Perhaps a single might be the best result for Ireland, or a 3. Get Leopold back on strike. She's going to heave it into the deep. She's going to get at least 1. The immediate call is 2, but I think Cara Murray wisely deciding better for Leopold to have the strike. Good knock this from the Marion left-hander, the southpaw. So it's all going to go down to the final over. Ireland are going to need 13 to win. Leopold on strike, and I've no doubt it's going to be the Scottish skipper to bowl it.
Yeah, it's been an excellent little innings this from Leopold. She's really tried hard given the circumstances, but it's always been an uphill task, and even though she's moved on to 17, it looks like it might be in a losing effort unless she can pull something really out of the fire here in the last over. 13 required off 6 deliveries. Just an early boundary might just add a little bit of nerves to the Scottish fielding side.
What Scotland cannot afford is any more extras, any more wides or no balls. 2 no balls in that over, and neither of them were punished. The free hits found boundaries very hard to come by today for either side. Leopold's going to have to try and find a way. Hit down the ground, but straight to mid-off. So just a single. Singles aren't enough at the moment.
Yeah, it's good bowling from Bryce. Right on the money at Yorker length, even though Leopold's trying to manufacture maybe a full toss out of it. Just a single. 12 off 5, and Cara Murray, as you can see there, plays her cricket with wearing stone. Big task on her hands.
Big swing and a miss, and she's given. In fact, she's not given, she's walked. So maybe just a very fine edge. In fact, it's stumped. Fantastic. That's going to be a joint world record for Sarah Bryce. 4 stumpings in the match. Foot just coming out. Immediately, Sarah Bryce knew, and the thing that's deceived me, the fielder, or the umpire, not at square leg, he's over at point because of the glare coming across the ground, but he gets the finger up. That's the 9th wicket. Scotland right on the brink now.
Yeah, excellent from Bryce behind the stumps. She's been fantastic all day. Very quick hands there. Karen Murray was just slightly outside of her crease, and Sarah Bryce completes the job, which brings Ava Canning to the crease. The final Ireland batter. 12 needed off 4. Looks a thankless task from here.
Yeah, the second consecutive game that Sarah Bryce has had a world record. 4 stumpings against the Netherlands back in September, and she's done it again, and that's going to be the game. The ball hit powerfully back to the bowler, and because Leopold was trying to get back on strike, we've ended up with a situation where she's been run out, and that's going to be game, set and the match to the Scotland women in game 1 of the series. They go 1-0 up.
Yeah, it's been an excellent performance from the Scottish women. Extremely good in everything they've done, and you can see they're a very cohesive unit. Just off screen at the moment, they're having a huddle out in the middle. They'll be delighted with how they've defended that target of 87. They might have thought they were a little bit light with runs,
And so, ladies and
but they were superb in the field,
game 1 in this
and they've
4-game
kept
series.
Ireland well short,
Celtic International
and they end up
T20
coming out on top by 11 runs.
between Ireland and Scotland.
Yeah, the margin might look a little tighter than you'd think. Scotland were really in control of this chase,
Scottish team
or this defensive there total that they set right the way throughout. 87 for 9 didn't look like a winning score at the halfway stage. We felt that Ireland might be confident in chasing that down, but you can see the fist bumps and the
here in Stormont.
elbow taps between the sides. Both sides will be just delighted to be back playing cricket. Not the result Ireland would have wanted, but you can't help but argue that the Scotland Wildcats, very good value for their win, going deservedly 1-0 up in this Celtic International T20 series. A low scoring game, but plenty of entertainment. Fantastic to have international cricket back. I think whilst Ireland will be disappointed with the loss, they're going to be delighted to be back out there, and they'll have an awful lot to work on with Ed Joyce and his coaching staff.
Yeah, still plenty of positives to take out of the game for Ireland. They bowled and fielded superbly this morning, restricting Scotland to 87, and just probably a thing, even in the first 6 to 8 overs with the bat, they probably didn't come out with maybe quite enough intent, but I'm sure these are things that can be worked on and rectified, and they've got another 3 games to go to war with this week to try and iron out some of that.
Yeah, let's see if we can take a look at the batting card now in a moment. I know our graphics just still updating. Chaos at the end with run-outs and stumpings and all sorts going on. It was Leopold who was run out right at the end, which has left Ireland all out for 76. So they've come up 11 runs short. No partnerships of any note, with the exception probably of that partnership between Leopold and Celeste Racht, which was in fact a record for the 8th wicket for Ireland in T20 international cricket. But it was really all about the Scottish bowlers and fielders, led so brilliantly by Catherine Bryce and her sister Sarah Bryce, who had the gloves on. 2 for 8 for her. A phenomenal day from the skipper.
Yeah, and brilliantly backed up. Catherine Fraser with 2 for 15 from her 4 overs. I know you were very impressed with Maqsood, even though her figures probably wouldn't reflect that. She was still showed plenty of ability. And Mcgill 3 for 18 as well.
Yeah, special word as well for Chatterjee. 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 3. Really good stuff from her. But you can see the partnerships at the bottom of your screen. Ireland never getting going. Just that 8th wicket partnership of any note. The record one of 26. Laura Delaney and Shona Kavanagh combining as well nicely for the 3rd wicket, but realistically it was all about the Scottish Wildcats today. They may have come into this series as underdogs. Remember, it's an associate nation playing against a test nation. On away soil, Ireland women finishing 3rd in the qualifier a year and a half ago, Scotland women finishing 5th, so a bit of an upset today. Remember, it's the first of 4 matches in this Celtic International T20 Challenge Series. We're going to have 4 T20Is over the course of 4 days. It was an earlier 11 a.m. start today because of the way the weather forecast was set. Very good decision. You could see the sunshine streaming across Stormont, even though it's cold and blustery. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Again on Wednesday at 1 o'clock before the 4th and final T20I will be 11 a.m. These 4 games will be brought to you all by us here at HBV Studios. For me, Andrew Leonard, Andrew Blair White to my right, Alan Lewis, the former Ireland international captain, and Isabel Joyce, who we're going to go over to shortly, find out who's won the player of the match. And there's the Irish bowling figures. Andrew, before we get over to the player of the match, the Irish bowlers certainly the highlight of the day for the home side.
Yeah, exactly. They were excellent. Lara Moritz bowled with good pace, good energy, and Ava Canning on debut was also very impressive, bringing the ball back into the right-handers. She took a wicket in just her second over. She was 1 for 17 from her 4 overs. So plenty to work on there. Certainly a performance that had plenty of positives. Just probably the batting letting them down a little bit in the run chase.
Yeah, remember, if you are in and around the Belfast area, or even if you fancy making the journey up from Dublin, spectators allowed back to Stormont, which is fantastic to see. You can come along and watch international cricket any point the remainder of the series. Tuesday and Wednesday 1 o'clock starts, Thursday 11 a.m. There's a small entry fee of £3, but all of the gate takings are going to the official Cricket Ireland charity partner, the Hope Foundation, who are doing some phenomenal work in the most difficult of circumstances with the COVID pandemic continuing to rage out in India. There you can see Ed Joyce just talking to his squad. I don't think it's a dressing down he's giving them, but he's going to want them to learn the lessons from today. It's a very youthful, talented, exuberant Irish squad, but there's no doubt they were outclassed with the bat today in particular. And you can see a little bit of upset amongst that Irish squad there, Andrew.
Yeah, I'd say they'll have learned plenty from today. They just have to try and get into a situation where they're getting over the line in some of those games and maybe making some of these run chases. But it's been a day full of learnings, I'd say, for this side.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So that's going to wrap it up here from the commentary box, but not an easy decision for the player of the match. Plenty of candidates from Scotland and from Ireland. Let's get over to Isabel Joyce and find out who it's going to be.
Match 1 of the Celtic International T20 Challenge, where Scotland have come out the victors by 12 runs. It was a day for the bowlers, and honourable mentions goes to Celeste Rack for her 3 wickets, 2 wickets apiece to Sarah Bryce and Catherine Fraser, but it's her all-round performance that makes Kaiji Mcgill the player of the match with 20 runs and 3 wickets. Katie, congratulations on a great performance today. Must have been brilliant to not only play cricket but put in that kind of performance.
Oh, it's so good to get back out on the park with the team again, and on a personal level, not only have we just had that lockdown, I've had quite a long struggle with a back injury, so to come back feeling strong and be able to execute today for the team has been buzzing.
What was your mentality going out to bat? Because your team was in trouble when you went out there, but you looked like you were playing on a different wicket.
I just worked really hard on that mental approach of staying calm whatever's happening around me and trust those strong shots, and the Irish girls bowled really well today. I think both sides bowled well, and that shows in the scorecard. But yeah, today I got it right for one.
So defending 88, what was said in the tent before the game, before the second half?
It was all about execution. We'd all seen the middle, and we knew that there was a lot in it for our bowlers, and we trust that we've got the skills to extract what the wicket can offer, and I think we did that. We executed a lot more than not, and that's how we got that result and built that pressure slowly throughout the game, pushed the run rate up and didn't let those partnerships kick on really.
Well, congratulations on your player of the match, and best of luck for the rest of the series.
Cheers.
And that's it for today. That's match 1 to Scotland. There's 3 more fixtures to come. Match 2 is tomorrow. We hope you'll join us at 1 o'clock. And from me, Isabel Joyce from all at HBV Studios in Cricket Ireland, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.